And we are live. Woo! Sorry, we're having a little bit of trouble with YouTube there on the countdown. Apologize for that.
It's a little busy on the platform today, I think.
A little busy. I think us and everyone's mom has an election night live stream. So first off, I'd like to just give a warm welcome to everyone here who doesn't normally join us here live on YouTube. Hello. I see a lot of regulars for the LOOPcast in the chat today. Great to see you guys. It's going to be an exciting night. The origin of this starts with I've sat in some election night parties with Josh, as he's doing right now, and he's nothing but electric entertainment. We figured we bring him to the people. That was partially.
Hey, normally I love the chat, but I can't do the chat today, guys. Don't be offended. But I'm focused on the numbers here.
Josh can't do the chat today, so Eric and I will be manning the chat. But I'd like to give everyone here a warm welcome.
They just called Florida for Trump. No surprise. Yes. But they had to wait. They had to wait for the Panhandle to close because they're in Central Time. So, bam.
All right.
801. No shock here.
We just got South Carolina, too. So we are locked and loaded. No surprises here. No surprises. But
right. And we'll be keeping everyone updated here. I have an interactive map we already see called in a lot of these places. Not necessarily called, but updates. Mm-hmm. But before we get into all that, I would just like to lay down the ground rules of what we're doing here. Okay. So we're going to be accompanying you throughout the night. What's up to everyone in the chat? You can see them here. Lots of friendly faces, lots of LOOPcast fans. Awesome. Ask you if you're here for the first time, consider subscribing. We do the show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we also do fun live streams like this to accompany everyone, give people a fun space to hang out in the chat, and provide you guys with some entertainment and some good information. So thank you guys for joining here live. Also, I feel like it'd be a good start to the program to say, before Josh goes crazy here, Brian sent out an e-wire last night, e-wire email, and I think it's good to contextualize everything we're going to be doing here tonight. So I'll just read it out. Today we surrender it all to God.
Well, that's today's email, right? Yeah.
Right. We've poured everything we have into this election and then some, millions of dollars, 5,000 volunteers, and 400 events, hundreds of millions of video views, over 5 million texts, hundreds of thousands of personal phone calls, 500,000 handwritten postcards, hundreds of media interviews, op-eds, memos, and much more. Together, we built the largest Catholic voter mobilization effort ever. I don't know what will happen tonight, but I can assure you we held nothing back. Not surprisingly, we've had both huge fans and detractors along the way. We've been accused of being too pro-Trump or too critical of him when he deserved it. We've worked with everyone from President Trump to J.D. Vance to RFK Jr. We've worked with bishops, priests, lay leaders, and tens of thousands of dedicated Catholics like you. Our goal has been simple: fight for the faith that we share, the truths that we hold, and the country that we love. Politics is never simple or easy. There are no perfect candidates, and voters, especially Catholics, come in all forms. Indeed, politics can often feel like a giant paradox. All at once, you realize that while serious and consequential questions are at stake, God is not on the ballot. The creator of the universe doesn't rely on a majority vote. He transcends all, and he always wins. I've said it repeatedly, but we will always be Catholic first. We never compromised our principles. We hold the truth about Kamala Harris, and we told the truth about Donald Trump, even when we disagree with him. In the end, we made the choice to back Trump Vance and never look back. No matter what happens tonight, we will never quit, we will never give up, and we will never stop fighting for what we believe. We are blessed to live in a country where the work we do is not only possible, but matters. I'm writing this final message on a plane, just having left Pennsylvania, and looking out the window at the vast country below me. I close my eyes and I think about everything we have done together. Every trip, every meeting, every late night, every email, every difficult choice, and every donation you invested in us. We give it all to him. Blessed be the name of the Lord, now and forever.
Amen.
From the fearless leader, Brian Birch.
Thanks, Brian.
Before we do any of this fun stuff, thank you so much to everyone who's volunteered to help us here at Catholic Vote, get votes out, write postcards, send texts, make calls, be on the ground, donate. None of this is possible without you. Everyone here in the chat helped make this possible, and we're so grateful for that. That being said, Josh, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, I mean, the Florida Senator Rick Scott was just reelected again. Another quick call because Florida is deep red. This wasn't necessarily considered to be a close race, but Democrats were fearful that they weren't going to have that many opportunities because they were defending a lot of Senate seats, and there's not that many pickup opportunities. So Democrats started spending a lot of money in Texas and Florida because there's only so much money you can spend in Montana, and they weren't going to win in West Virginia. West Virginia was called before we even got here. So the Senate race in West Virginia, Joe Manchin's old seat, that is a Republican pickup of one seat in the Senate already.
Yes.
That was considered a 99.99% likelihood. Now it's 100%. But like Florida, they were hoping, hey, we can make this a run for the money. And this lady here, I mean, I got a million of her Twitter ads. She was trying to raise a ton of money.
Yeah.
Democrats did not have any problem raising money and spending money on this race, but she got totally smoked. Donald Trump and Rick Scott, the Senate candidate in Florida, big romp. I've never seen Florida called so quickly, both on the presidential level. I mean, this is like called at 8:01.
But Josh, wasn't there thought that there was a potential pickup opportunity? And why was there so much hope for Democrats if it was called so soon?
On the Senate side, it's because they're holding on to 51 seats in the Senate, right? And now a third of and so they're hoping that they want to hold on to their majority, right?
Right.
And so they know they're going to lose West Virginia. Well, they already did. That decision came down 20 minutes ago. So like, okay, we're not going to win West Virginia. We got to hopefully hold on. And if you're Democrats, you're like, we got to hold on to Montana. We got to hold on to Ohio. We got to hold on to the senators from the blue wall, because they have Democrats that are trying to win in each of those blue wall states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And so they're like, there's not that many pickup opportunities. They're playing defense. And so they're like, well, let's spend money to try to get rid of Ted Cruz in Texas. And let's spend a lot of money to try to get rid of Rick Scott in Florida. Well, dude, the polls closed, and
decisive.
And a minute later, bam, there goes your Florida hopes, Democrats. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Erika.
I was going to say, we're going to talk mostly about, obviously, the presidential race is top of mind tonight, but just a reminder that the Senate is as important in many ways, if not more, as sort of, it was designed, right, Josh, as this bulwark to protect the balance of power and the checks and balances.
It's not more important, but it is very, very important. And the thing is, what we've
important.
seen in the Trump era is that when people vote for president in that state, they also support the Senate candidates of that same party. There used to be a lot more ticket splitting, okay? So somebody might vote for Ronald Reagan for president, and then that same state votes for a Democrat for Senate. Or they might vote for Bill Clinton for president, and they vote for a Republican in the Senate race. That's called ticket splitting on the, and like, oh, okay, whatever. That's almost unheard of now. In fact, of all the Senate races in the last two presidential elections before tonight, where Trump was on the ballot, there was only one state that voted for one presidential candidate and then a Senate candidate of the opposite party, and that's the state of Maine, where Susie Collins is just this political animal that I don't understand how she manages to win in a deep blue state. She's not like a conservative by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just fascinating. Now, look, big news coming out of Georgia. Exit polls, you can take them with a grain of salt, but the exit polls show that 25% of black men in Georgia were voted for Donald Trump. That's huge. They polled independent voters in Georgia, and they found that while Biden won independents by 9 points.
By 9, yeah.
Trump is winning them by 11. So that's a 20-point switch amongst independents in Georgia.
Massive
that's huge
swing.
news.
Massive.
And then the news that we're getting out of Virginia now.
I was going to say, I think this is the big first surprise of the night. We have
9-point swing to the right by Loudoun County in that's it's considered the suburbs, but it's like the outer ring suburbs of Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, the swamp creatures, whatever. Loudoun County used to be, when I lived in Virginia, was deep red Republican area. And then over the last 10 years, it went blue. And so the fact that vote is swinging significantly to the right, I would attribute it to Glenn Youngkin's great leadership as governor there. Also,
did you hear what he did? He sent property taxes like yesterday.
Who did?
Glenn Youngkin did. So right before everyone went out to vote, they got hit with their property tax.
With their property tax,
so they know how much.
It's a good reminder. It's a data point that everyone should keep in mind when they vote.
Smart.
Definitely a data point.
We got Erika E. Field in the chat coming in from Loudoun.
Oh, hey, Erika.
So for the first time since Biden dropped out of the race, Trump's at 70% in the betting markets over. I mean, the betting markets,
poly market action.
Yeah, who knows?
How much money do you have riding in there, Josh? Is that a personal question?
I have it in a different one. I got about $200 going on the line.
Okay, good. It's not the house. Your family's going to be able to eat.
All right.
It doesn't go your way.
I'm still stung by that when Biden dropped out. I lost like $200 on that.
Well, you lost a lot of street cred because you had a.
Hey, I make the calls. That's what the Oracle does. I make the tough calls. I don't win every one of them, but I make the calls.
Bold
Real
and
man in the
beautiful,
arena
Josh.
type guy.
That's
Bold
right.
and beautiful.
So we addressed Amendment 4, right? I'm already seeing DeSantis coming out and saying it's over.
Oh, well, that's great to hear. If he says it, then it's true. I mean, the concern here,
Let's stop. What is Amendment 4?
Amendment 4 in Florida would put a very radical pro-abortion amendment into their state's constitution. Florida protects unborn babies at the moment of the heartbeat. Fantastic pro-life state. And the pro-aborts are on the march. They put this amendment proposal on the ballot. But to get something confirmed into the Constitution by the people, you need a 60% supermajority, not just a majority. And when I looked at it before jumping on the air here, the yes vote was sadly way too high, but still under that 60%. It was at 59%, but it was with all the Democratic cities and early votes already counted for.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 15 minutes since we just got mic'd up here and on the air, it looks like Amendment 4 is going down in flames. Praise God. It would be the first time since the Roe v. Wade decision was overturned in the Dobbs. This would be the first time that the voters rejected an abortion amendment.
And there's Amendment
Not just
3.
Amendment 4, Josh. Looks like Amendment 3. Decision Josh just said that went down. That was the marijuana legalization.
Now, here's the thing about Amendment 3. Yeah, I mean, this is it actually, a lot of people are sympathetic to legalizing marijuana, but then this one was such a badly written thing. It would basically give a monopoly. It was just, it was bad politics anyway. So I'm not a big fan of legalizing weed anyway, but
down in flames.
I'm glad that went down in smoke.
So, do we have a quick summary of where we are at now? What do we know?
Well, so, I mean, of course, the polls, we're 10 minutes past the hour here at 8 o'clock. So a lot of polls have started to close. You see a lot of the states, okay, you're looking at the presidential thing right now. So a lot of the states, this is not a surprise that we're going to get a lot of states being called quickly because no one's really surprised that Indiana, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee are all going for Trump. That's not.
Listen, I did my part.
That's right. Indiana in the house.
The only shock on the presidential stuff at this point is that Florida was called that rapidly. I mean, it's just Florida has gone from being a red state to a deep red state.
Right. Shout out DeSantis. I was in college when DeSantis almost lost to Andrew Gillum, who I think did crack with people. Like he was an insane candidate.
Indeed.
He barely lost. He barely beat him by like 1%, maybe less than 1%.
Yeah, it was less than that.
So
it was
close.
Yeah.
And talk about a meteoric rise since.
And it was black women that liked school choice that put Ron DeSantis over the top in that first election.
Man, shout out Ron DeSantis.
Shout out to the black women.
Shout out to the queens out there. Put them in office. Could sniff out a fraud. I mean, Andrew Gillum was terrible. Amendment 3, Amendment 4 down. It's good leadership.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's looking more and more attractive. I mean, look up in my corner of the United States here, and we are blue, 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 blue. So I'm like, oh, Florida, pro-life, Ron DeSantis, going
also,
Trump, deep red.
I do want to talk about Florida in terms of getting results back soon. I mean, I'm a little bit young when this happened, but
can we not all do this?
Right, exactly. They kind of are a good example of a state being able to turn it around and actually be kind of the premier of getting their votes counted properly. And it's just shocking to me that we live in a first world country and I'm being told from Michigan and Nevada, like, hey, we're not going to have results until tomorrow. Like we live in a first world country. Like to me, it's crazy we have not federalized our election process. Is it just because, have we not done it, Josh, because people want to take advantage of loopholes? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Because ultimately states still elect our leadership. I mean, that's what it is. There's not a national election. We have 50 elections going on simultaneously, 51 if you count Washington, D.C., and federalism is a part of what makes our system great. But I do think we do need to make some changes here. So, I mean, what I'd like to see is, like maybe what we could do is pass a bill that would give more money for election security. But in order to receive the money, states would have to enforce voter ID.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the thing in Nevada? Nevada's saying that they're having trouble with all their mail-in ballots because people's signatures don't match up with.
It's the younger kids, because when they
young
went
kids
into the
don't know how to
DMV
write.
when
We
they're
don't know how to.
18 or 16,
They don't learn how to write their name signatures.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my
I'm not exaggerating. This was a full New York Times article. They're like, we're not able to count these ballots. We need people to confirm that it actually is them. And I'm like, if only there was a laminated piece of paper with a picture on it that existed, that could
I
actually
saw.
confirm. I mean, what are we
Yeah.
doing here, guys? It's crazy. There's no ID either. But I have a prediction I'd like to share right now.
Go for it.
I think Jeb is back, dude.
Jeb Bush.
Listen, we could have some, a couple thousand ballots dropped off at the 11th hour for Jeb.
You never
Exclamation
know.
point. So, just thought
Wow,
I'd share
you're
that.
so back.
One race that was considered to be competitive several months ago, which then there was a scandal, the governor's race in North Carolina, Mark Robinson. I like a lot of his issues, pretty bold, but he had a massive personal scandal. And
that was bad.
Republican voters in that state realized, we have a veto-proof majority in both houses of the legislature, so we'll just let this guy go down in flames. So,
and he did.
So the governor, the governor's mansion in North Carolina remains Democrat, but I'm guessing that the Republican legislature will remain 2/3 Republican. So I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. So do you want to take a look at Georgia briefly, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, obviously, black vote looms large in Georgia. This is a state that was just was razor thin margin last presidential cycle. Overall, there's just fewer people going to be voting this election than the previous election because everyone could just mail in the ballots. It's a lot easier. There's not a significant Catholic population, as of yet. I mean, if you went back 30, 40 years ago, it would be even smaller. As Atlanta grows and people from the north move into Atlanta, we're seeing the Catholic population grow. It's almost 8% now, but still, obviously, states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, you're talking like 30%. So it's significant less, Catholics there. But yeah, Donald Trump going up against claiming the voter fraud in the aftermath of the 2020 elections probably ended up costing Republicans both of those Senate seats there, as voters kind of didn't take too kindly to that. Whatever I'm not trying to pick that fight now, but I'm just saying. So both senators from Georgia are Democrats. This is a state that was rock rib Republican for many years, and now you've got two Democratic senators. And I think it's going to be, we'll see. Ryan Gerdusky, a good friend of mine, he's a number cruncher, smart political guy. He was the one who was booted off CNN recently.
Likes to make beeper
He
jokes.
He said things are looking very good in Georgia. Obviously, we mentioned earlier that 25% of black men in the exit poll said they were supporting Trump.
That's a crazy number.
So that when you couple with the 20-point swing amongst independents, it really does look like we'll get a call from Georgia tonight in favor of Trump. I think that's.
How much faith do you put in exit polls at this point? Because of course I've
with
seen
a grain of salt, obviously,
right?
But
explain that for people that don't know, what is an exit poll?
So literally what they do is as voters are leaving, as they're exiting, who did you vote for? Can I ask you questions? And I'm with, whatever. And people, whatever. So in rural areas, it's hard to have these exit pollers, like you're going to send them all the way out to the hinterlands. So it tends to be that they overrepresent suburban and urban voters. Well, if urban voters in Georgia, there's going to be a lot of blacks in Atlanta. So they're going to be asking them, hey, what do you think? So I do think you're going to get a decent representation in those exit polls. And if they're saying 25% of black men in Georgia said they voted for Trump, that's got to be given major concerns to Kamala. And again, it speaks to the thought that the thought over the last week or two is that Donald Trump was looking very strong in those Sun Belt swing states like Georgia, North Carolina. That would be further evidence to this. Arizona as well. So, that means Kamala Harris needs to do very well in the blue wall, the Great Lakes states,
right? Michigan,
Pennsylvania,
Wisconsin.
Michigan, Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We're having
sorry, what's going on, Erika?
I was just saying we had a question about the Maryland Senate race, which I haven't actually been following very closely.
So Larry Hogan is the current, he served as governor of Maryland. He's a pro-abortion Republican. I mean, whatever, I'm not going to make any excuses for it, but the chances of a pro-lifer being elected out of Maryland are like a snowball in Hades chance. This Democrat, of course, is a total communist. So there are Republicans who are like, I'm going to hold my nose and vote for Larry Hogan because he might be right 20% of the time, but she's going to be wrong 100%. So
there you go.
Right.
I'm not justifying things. People are making their own calls on that one.
Is there any hope for my Chinese queen in New Hampshire?
Well, hold on a
man.
second. But on this race, I mean, again, I would give Larry Hogan, the Republican, maybe a 10% chance. So not likely.
Okay, not likely according to the Oracle.
All right, I'm
back to
pulling
my-
up New Hampshire.
back to my New Hampshire queen.
It's not looking good,
Dang
honestly.
it. Jake
Yeah,
Tapper.
we've got Maggie Goodlander, Jake Sullivan's wife. She's pulling. It's coming in at 61% for her, close to 40, and about 18% of the precincts reporting. So
She's going to be a star, though.
this is
knockout
early
performance
days.
was great.
Yeah.
Is there any? I heard some rumors about New Hampshire and Trump.
Well, New Hampshire's a swing-ish state.
Yeah.
Like the House, there was a House district, not that one that she was running for. I think it was the other one that had flipped hands in 3 consecutive congressional cycles. And so it is, there's a large group of independent voters in New Hampshire, and
You drive through
very
those
strong
rural
independent
hills.
streak.
Yeah, very libertarian.
You're
going to see more.
Kelly Ayotte is running for governor there, and she's Catholic-ish. I think she'll do pretty good. She was in the Senate for a while too, the United States Senate.
Yeah, she's solid. She's all right.
Involved in judicial fights, and so we like that.
Well, did you see so everyone knows the story of Dixville Notch, right? Does everyone know Dixville
No,
Notch?
you're from New Hampshire, and I'm a junkie. I know it.
You do, and I
know.
grew up in New Hampshire.
But you should be the one, Erica. Go
I know.
ahead.
I'm going to tell. I'm telling
let her eat. Let her cook.
Dixville Notch. I am a
You
New
said I wasn't letting
Hampshire,
her cook. You said
born
let her
and
cook.
bred in New Hampshire, and so Dixville Notch is the first precinct to cast their votes in the entire United States. They get up at like midnight last night so that they can be first. And they see themselves as a sort of like bellwether, which they used to be that as Dixville Notch went, so went New Hampshire, so went the rest of the election. That was when I was a small child, though, like I won't say how many years ago. And last time, Dixville Notch went 100%. All voters voted for Joe Biden, and that's all 5 of them.
Landslide.
All 5 of them. 5-0 landslide. Today, however, this morning, Dixville Notch came back 3-3 Trump Harris. I mean, that's a big swing for Trump. That's a 50-point swing for the red.
So-
and I just want to know, like, what was the conversation around the donut shop after they all went and cast their votes, and like the returns come back and it's like 3-3, and they're all looking at each other like, well, got to survive the winter, so I guess we better put aside our differences and
I want to consult the gang here, of course, but then the chat as well. So I did it the old-fashioned way. I voted day of, and as well as Dixville Notch apparently. And so basically, what you're saying is people, they voted for Biden in 2020. They were entrenched. Maybe they're going to vote before. Obviously, we get the switch with Kamala Harris. Big switch, big risk, big gamble, of course.
Right.
And anecdotally, I went and voted, and my place had an hour wait. And I was talking to one of the poll watchers, and I was like, hey, like, has it been this busy all day? She's like, yes, it's legitimately been an hour wait basically the entire day. And I have not seen this much enthusiasm since 2008. And of course, 2008 was the first Obama term.
Landslide for Obama.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like,
and that's Indiana went for Obama that year.
So hopefully that's a good thing. I'm like, hopefully it's the right type of enthusiasm as opposed to the wrong type of enthusiasm. But I just wonder with Kamala Harris, maybe has anyone else noticed that their poll place like less enthusiasm basically for the Democrat because of this swap? I'd imagine we could see some of this tonight as it comes out in results.
At the Connecticut poll places, nobody talks to each other because it's
New England, baby.
Yeah, New England, baby. But I mean, just anecdotally, it's been kind of strange being. Yeah, it's been anecdotally, I have seen actual Trump signs around my neighborhoods in Connecticut, which is sort of unheard of. I mean, in 2020, there was nothing, zero. Like I saw no Trump signs unless I drove maybe 45 minutes up to the farms in Litchfield County.
Mm-hmm.
But I went for a run on Sunday. I had to like get out the yayas, a little bit of nerves. I'm feeling some nerves, I have to admit. My feelings are nervous. And so I went for a run on Sunday to like beat it out. I turned the corner, I ran up the hill, and there's this kid pulling out of a driveway, and he had put 2 PVC pipes and 2 giant Trump flags on the back of his car. And he was like leaving our neighborhood with these Trump flags. And I was like, if this is a sign, Lord, let it be. I can be happy with this. But anyway, it's all anecdotal to me at this point.
Oh, Josh, you have a video for me?
Oh boy.
I thought you would love this as a Rogan head.
Gosh.
Run the tape, baby.
I know why you're showing this to me.
Roll the tape.
And I'm not mad. All right, here we go.
A little while ago, we were talking to two guys. One of them said that he was on the fence until he said when Kamala did not go on the Joe Rogan podcast, that was what influenced his vote. He ended up voting for Trump, but he said that he was open to listening to Kamala on the podcast, and when she didn't, again, not necessarily all the issues, but the fact that he said she didn't seem like a real person because she couldn't talk for an extended period of time. So that's just some of the things that we're hearing from some.
That is
evidence.
That is an electric clip. She
That's
didn't seem like a
awesome.
real person. Oh, you just dawned upon you that she didn't seem like a real person.
That's great. That's really
Okay, so I want to do
Rogan
just a little.
actually- Oh, sorry.
We're
go
going to
ahead.
try to throw some of that fun stuff, but I want to get a little stat in here too. Like one of the things that we're going to be looking for is, obviously Florida going red, but the question was Duval County, which is in southern Georgia. How would that work? And that also would move to the right by like 5 points. So again, we're talking about a situation where Georgia is looking pretty good.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Did you see
Red
our boy
peepers.
Seamus with Freedom Tunes did a video
It's
on
another
Kamala
channel. I
Rogan?
love this cable channels. You got the wrong number of electoral votes in the state. People drive me crazy.
Oh, you got to come here with the Loopcast, baby.
That's right.
I got my clipboards. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, you want to go down before there's more breaking? You want to go down memory lane with JD Vance?
Yep.
Do it, man. Go for it.
So I was with Josh and Brian, Catholic Vote President, at the JD Vance election party in Ohio in 2022.
Yeah. Only 2 years ago.
Time's flying.
Oof.
And it was close. It was a close race. Like I think there was a feeling that there was a little bit of nervousness. I think they were pretty solid on DeWine, but this was during the big red wave. So everyone was like, oh, we're going to win everything.
We knew he'd win. Not that we liked DeWine.
Exactly. Right. But we're like, okay, there's confidence there. But JD Vance was still kind of a question mark. And now of course, talk about appreciating. We get there and I was there to take pictures, and sure enough, we get word that JD Vance won. And it felt like Ohio was the only place that really won across the country.
Well, we had that massive win in Florida, and then JD
Florida.
Vance wins here in Ohio, and we're like, okay, and then let's see if this red wave will continue across the country, and puddle.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. But, JD, our boy JD, comes on stage with his wife, Usha. And I swear, this also, I don't think I've told this before. I was kind of nervous because I was driving a rental car from Indianapolis to Columbus. And I remember driving by trying to find the right place to park. And I see someone with a stroller and a couple kids it was like a Red Ryder like wagon. And it was a white man and an Indian woman, a couple kids rolling in tow. And I was like, isn't JD Vance's wife Indian? And someone confirmed yes. I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw him walking around just on a walk with the kiddos, which is like, how awesome is that? Like a politician with little kids. And sure enough, wins the race, gets selected as vice president. I mean, we're looking at him I'd say for me personally, I have so much respect for Trump. He frustrates me at times, but commend nothing but the courage of what he's done in this campaign, the coalition he's built. My absolute favorite part of voting today was voting for JD Vance to be vice president. I have never felt represented by a politician like I have felt by JD Vance.
Yeah.
I've never felt optimism the way I feel and the way that he communicates, the way he talks about issues, the way that he talks about America. So that was by far.
I've never agreed with a politician more than I've agreed with him, and that was amazing because I said that about Ron DeSantis, and then now there's a guy I say that even more about. But I some people who are friends of mine, they were kind of a little skeptical about Trump. Like, why don't you vote for JD Vance for vice president? But I got to tell you, even though I agree with him more, I voted for Trump. The man took a bullet for us.
Yeah.
That's my guy. I'm with you, bro.
Listen,
Fight.
I agree. And
I
I
think
see
you're
Tony,
disagreeing.
Tony in the chat said his argument on pro-life was horrible on Rogan. I actually disagree. I listened to that. Thinking about who you're talking to, Rogan and the general audience, I think in general, the tone of we need to win back the trust is absolutely the right way to take and talk about all the other pro-life issues. And then, of course, calmly point out, obviously, the extremity of the other side. I don't think I have any question that he's pro-life. I think that he's just a smart and savvy politician in terms of pushing the football forward. And that's why we always held that line when there was criticism at different times. So we'll see if it pays off here. I mean, that was a big gamble. Right now, the numbers are looking like Trump really is potentially going to turn out men in a way that's never been done before. And Kamala is really leaning on we have Liz Cheney and abortion argument. So
Right.
we'll see how
Joy,
that
the
handles.
joy argument. Kill the babies, go to
Joy.
war.
Joy. But shout out my boy Tony. He's always on us for being on time, and I appreciate that. We need that in our life.
So here's another little fun fact. Elections past 2016 brought the New York Times needle. Remember that?
Yep.
And it was like 99% chance of Hillary winning, and then all of a sudden
I'm actually looking at it right now. Yep.
Oh, good.
they have it. It's a total toss-up, so they don't have enough information to do anything. But they brought it in.
It's still there. Anyway.
Okay, anyone, here's a shock. Donald Trump just won Arkansas. It took him 4 seconds to call that.
I think Oklahoma they called too.
Yeah, I mean,
Oklahoma's been called. Mississippi's been called. Alabama's been called. Here, I can share the graphic to give us a state of the race. And also, if anyone in the chat has specific questions, shoot away. We have someone collecting them for me, and we are happy to address what you would like us to address. Shout out to my boys. I have some good friends who are watching for the first time, I think. Shout out Tim. Shout out Sam. Okay, so let's take a look here. Donald Trump, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida's been called, South Carolina's been called, Kentucky's been called, Indiana's been called, West Virginia's been called. Maryland's been called, it looks like right now for okay, Josh.
Okay, so here's the lie.
This bothers me.
Yeah,
what bothers you?
There in Maryland?
It bothers me that more in Maryland it's already been called and she only has 33%.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like one of those things where the chances of Donald Trump winning Maryland would be about 1%. And so as the votes come in, you see, in a Democratic district, if the voter turnout is there and it's strong, you can do a sample and it's like, okay, just like Arkansas. Like it would take a miracle for Kamala Harris to win Arkansas. They haven't voted for a Democrat since Bill Clinton, and he was from Arkansas. So it's just not happening.
Man from Hope.
So, you get these things where, why do they call it so soon? Because it would take basically an unforeseen bloodbath, for one of the parties to win such an odd state like that. Now, again, New York Times, I talk about that needle. They're projecting it at the moment. There's still a lot of vote out yet, but they're projecting Trump to get at 277 is the current estimate for the New York Times of what they think Trump will get. Of course, you need 270 electoral votes. Still very early, obviously.
Early in the night. Hey, I have a question, actually. So Pennsylvania is supposed to be a toss-up, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to play along. So Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes. Right now, they're saying only 8% reporting, but Kamala's at 71%. So she's but it's still called a toss-up. Is that just because we only have the Philly votes in or something? Or
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's Philadelphia. It could be Pittsburgh for all we know. I mean, the whole point is, it's not like every single precinct in the state is the same. Of course, you have some precincts that are going to be 95% Democrat, and others that are going to be like 85% Republican. And so, like the first few votes as it trickle in, whoever gets it counted fastest. So when you're talking about something of only 10% of the vote in, way too early to make any kind of a judgment call on a swing state like this. When you start getting to the point where there's, let's say, 30% of the precincts have reported, and then when they say 30% voted, let's say, that means they're talking 30% of the precincts have been completed. It's not necessarily 30% of the total number of votes possible, because you don't know how many people might vote. Voter turnout might be higher in urban areas or rural areas or whatever. So again, that percentage is usually just a reference to the number of precincts that have closed, not necessarily the aggregate total number of votes.
What should we be thinking on Pennsylvania right now? There's been a lot of news headlines that typically is who wins Pennsylvania will win the election. Yeah,
I mean, it is considered the decisive state. Whoever wins Pennsylvania will win it all. But here's the thing that we're looking at too, though. And again, I get that there's a lot of things bad about the 2020 election, and so Republicans are naturally, very risk averse and gun shy, or whatever you want to call it. But they didn't want to have. What they should have done is still not opposed efforts to allow election officials to count ballots in the days leading up to Election Day. So if you sent in an absentee ballot into Pennsylvania, they can't open that up till now. And it's still in the envelope. So they're opening them up, and it's going to take a while for them to count all these ballots. And so that's why it's going to take a lot longer. Florida, it's already done because Florida allows you to count early votes and absentee ballots weeks ago, and they're already done. They already counted it. Michigan, my state, I'm not a big fan of the attorney general here. The Democrats control it, but they did change the law to allow absentee and early voters, all those things to be counted before Election Day. So I think we're going to get results from Michigan faster because of it.
Michigan's saying not till tomorrow, though.
They're going to say that anyway, but I have a feeling we're going to know, we're going to have a lot more of the vote in from Michigan.
Set the bar low, exceed every time.
Yeah, I mean.
Would you guys like a comedy break?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm happy to share this. So Kamala Harris had a few stops before she went to her party that Biden is not joining her in, by the way. This being one of my favorite. So watch this phone call, see if you guys notice anything.
How you doing? Have you voted already? You did, thank you.
Wait, is that her camera?
Wait
She had her camera on. She wasn't even talking to anybody.
a second.
Oh my gosh.
That is the camera app.
What? Why are these people so weird? That's weird.
Unless she's, the only thing I could say is unless she was on like a.
I did want to do kind
Like
of
a
a
video
Jarvis
call?
enhanced thing
But, like,
because
why would
Unless
my
she's
toddler-
FaceTiming it and she just couldn't hear, so she had to put it closer, I guess.
no, it wouldn't be FaceTime. It would be sometimes if your phone's locked, you can still go to the camera. But I don't. That'd still be weird. But my toddler does that all the time. So
yeah.
I don't know.
She does have a
Still
brand new
strange.
toddler, so.
My
Yep.
other favorite thing from her was she went door knocking
Yeah,
and
this was funny.
she had people outside greeting her. And she's like, "Hey, actually, do you think you could go back inside so we can make it seem like I'm knocking on your door?" You're like, oh my gosh, man. Oh,
All right, I had
What?
something really
There's another
weird.
thing along those lines, though.
Yeah.
Erica,
I
Oh,
had
go ahead,
something-
Erica. I'll let ladies first.
Okay.
let Erica
So
cook.
this was I just put it into the private chat there. If you want to pull this up, NBC had this exit poll, and they were asking not about like who you voted for necessarily, but what was your top issue going in. And this just seemed bizarre to me that the top issue was democracy. So NBC is reporting that 35% of people voted because of democracy, then 31% economy, 14% abortion, then immigration, foreign policy. So the abortion immigration thing, that makes sense. We had that reported a couple of weeks ago that abortion actually overtook immigration as the number 2 issue. But the economy has been the top issue the entire time. So it just seems kind of fishy to me that all of a sudden NBC discovers that people are so concerned about democracy.
Yeah, but here's my thing with
it's
this poll,
bizarre.
Erica. Who did they ask on this? Like they could have asked
True.
everyone with blue hair and they could have just said democracy
Yeah.
at the top. Like,
I did learn this morning that Democrats are 16% more likely to answer any kind of polling. So exit
yes.
Yeah.
polls.
New York Times even
Oh,
admitted
God.
it. Nate Cohn, give him credit.
Yep, 16%. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a little,
all right.
not video, but an interesting photograph today.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Well, this is accompanying something else, Josh, but yeah. Just a nice
Oh,
piece
I
of
love
news.
this.
Okay,
so
so
Jill
she's
Biden.
this is Jill Biden, First Lady of the United States. She's married to the president, a Democrat, who's been a Democrat for 50-some years in office.
I love this so much.
The color for Democrats is blue, and yet she is wearing red from head to toe.
On her way from the poll.
Jill's revenge.
Well, Josh,
I'm telling you, it's
They
not a
totally
mistake.
voted for
These are
Trump.
not mistakes. Everything you wear is on purpose. There's no way like, oh gosh, I forgot there was an election today.
Josh, why'd you wear that green polo? Are you a Jill Stein guy or?
Because someone asked me about this. Why don't you wear like a red polo? Because
Yeah.
my kids all wear red polos and they think I look like I'm going to school. So
But did you see the news accompanying that Biden will not be joining Kamala Harris at the
well,
party?
it's past his bedtime, you know. Probably not invited anyway, but
Big facts, but come on now.
The Bidens are like my favorite people right now.
And then I think Elon said he's going to be at Trump's party, but the way that they put it in the tweet was like Elon is going to be intimate with, like the way they worded it was so funny. It was like, this is such a bizarre.
you know what? You know what state is too close to call right now?
What's too
What?
close?
Virginia?
Virginia's too close to call.
I did see that. Still, they're at.
That is a fantastic sign. And my good friend and our coworker, Tommy Valentine, has been ringing the bell that Virginia is a definite chance there.
I mean, you take a look at the numbers here. We have 821,392 for Kamala. That's 50%. And then Trump is at 799,915. 48% for Trump. I mean, that's close. I mean, the Loudoun County swing was definitely.
Trump takes the lead in North Carolina. Only 16% reporting still, but we'll take it 51-48 right now in North Carolina.
Josh, do you want to see what our editing team whipped up for you?
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. We got to roll the tape.
This is one of my favorite things that I think we've produced so far at the Loopcast. Let me find that. Shout out my boy Liam.
Yep. Liam, you rock. We love you.
He's the best.
He's close in Ohio Senate.
He makes us look fun.
Here we go. Josh goes into a coma on June 27th, the day before the Biden and Trump debate. And he woke up today and he asked,
What'd I miss?
Biden completely malfunctions on stage during the first Trump debate. Donald Trump nearly gets assassinated in Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump selects J.D. Vance as his vice president. The Democrats get Biden to step down. They replace him with Kamala Harris. She chooses Tim Walz. Haitians are eating cats in Ohio. You get the Kamala and Trump debate September 10th. And Trump says during the debate, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. They actually turned it into an auto-tune remix.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
Next, you get a second assassination attempt. You get the first VP debate. It looked like during the debate, Tim Walz was going to actually vote for J.D. Vance. Hurricane Helene hits. Trump goes back to Butler. Elon Musk joins him on stage. Kamala Harris goes on Call Her Daddy. Erika saved a child on a live show. Trump goes on Theo Von show, Andrew Schultz's show, and eventually Joe Rogan's show. Gretchen Whitmer fed a Dorito to someone like it was the Eucharist. You're a fan of the Al Smith dinner, right?
Oh, yes.
Kamala Harris declined that. Kamala Harris has claimed that she's worked at McDonald's. There's still actually no record of Kamala Harris working at McDonald's. And so Trump actually went and worked at McDonald's. Kamala said at a rally when some people said Jesus is Lord, she told them that they're at the wrong rally. And then Biden called half the country floating garbage.
All right.
That was great. Epic. One for the ages, boys. One for the ages.
So Liam turned that. I had the idea of just me as a floating head. I just imagine that's how when Josh ever thinks of me, I just imagine me as like a little floating head next to him and be like,
What is that? What is
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
around here somewhere.
Yeah. It's like Emperor's New Groove. You got the little, the good guy,
gosh.
the evil and the good guy on your shoulders.
I
Hopefully
still
the
haven't
good
seen
guy.
that movie.
Oh,
Your
it's
mom-
so good.
Every movie does the good guy and the
Watch
bad guy.
that
I
movie.
mean, come on,
It's-
that's
they
like
met
a
her.
old trope.
Have you seen Emperor's New Groove, Josh?
I have not. My kids have seen it once or twice.
Oh.
The kid movie I like to watch with my kids is Robin Hood, the old
Robin Hood
cartoon
Banks.
version.
Oh, I love the old Robin Hood. Oh,
I'm telling you, if anyone in the
It's a-
chat, if you're an adult, go back and watch Emperor's New Groove. It's genuinely the funniest animated movie maybe I've ever seen.
right.
Infinitely quotable. It's incredible.
Janet is very proud right now, Poco.
Yeah,
she's
well-
been bugging me to watch that for 10 years almost.
She raised me and she told me, she showed me what she showed me, and here I am.
Good
Okay,
job,
hold
Janet.
on. Here we go. We're getting
All right, what do we
close.
have, Josh?
Hey,
Well, just it looks like Trump is on pace to flip Baldwin County in Georgia. It would be the first time the GOP has won the county since 2004. The county is 41% black voters.
whoa. That is intense. Times they are a changing.
Oh, here we go.
Turning
Yeah,
of the
fun times.
tide. Oh man. You know what? My kids have a request.
What's the request?
Well, they want to explain Peanut.
Oh my gosh.
Mom's
I've had a
been
couple
talking
people
about-
want me to talk about Peanut.
Mom's been talking about Peanut and we don't understand. So I don't know. Do we have a good Peanut? I'll find one.
The one of Peanut with his hand, or Peanut on his hand on Trump's shoulder, saying they tried to kill me too, is pretty awesome. Peanut is a squirrel from New York. Basic summary.
New York State.
This guy, New York State, had a squirrel, Peanut, that was injured, that he resuscitated, and a raccoon, by the way, and they lived in his home. Someone from Texas called in a threat, basically, because he had a big social media profile, saying that it shouldn't have been in the house, it was dangerous or whatever.
That's one way of saying.
And
guy was. Wow.
you know what the actual call-in was? It was that he was there illegally. And so
Right.
now
You're not allowed to own a squirrel. Yeah.
the New York State,
Look at him.
a New York State agency actually kicked down this guy's door, got a warrant, put him in handcuffs. They took the squirrel and euthanized him along
And
with
the raccoon.
the
Timmy the
raccoon.
raccoon. Yeah.
and it radicalized and notably PETA noticeably silent.
Yeah.
So
It was very sad.
Again, some early results though, but still Trump showing some strong gains in the suburbs of Dallas, Texas. You like
There's
that?
someone in the chat. Harambe deserved it. Peanut didn't.
That's
More
right.
like Trump for you, Peanut.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Justice for Peanut.
Yeah, let's get the
Justice
chat
for Peanut.
up in here. Look
I
at you
know.
guys go.
Let's see that.
Fluffy
Okay,
bear
so
hug.
amongst independent voters in Pennsylvania, NBC exit poll has Trump leading by 6 points amongst independents, and that's in PA.
Does Ted Cruz have anything to worry about in Texas?
I don't think so. No, not at this rate.
Okay, good to know. See if we have any. Oh, dang it! They already called Illinois.
Surprise. Shock.
Well, Hung Chau is this great, if I say his name, Hung Chau, I think. Great guy running for Senate in Virginia. Unfortunately, Tim Kaine got reelected.
I did see that.
Ugh.
Did you see the SNL skit Tim Kaine was in?
No.
I did. And in fact, because it violated the equal time provision, they had to give the Republican candidate 2 minutes of airtime during I think they did it during The Voice, which is a very popular program all throughout NBC channels of Virginia. They gave him 2 minutes of free advertisement to counter that 2 minutes on Saturday Night Live.
Wait, to counter Tim Kaine. But what about Trump though? Because Kamala.
So they had Kamala Harris on right before the election on Saturday Night Live. So NBC had to report it because she was a candidate for federal office. And one of the old FEC commissioners blew the whistle on Twitter, and NBC is realizing they're opening themselves up to a massive lawsuit for Trump. And so what they did is they negotiated with the Trump campaign, and they got an agreement to air 90 seconds of free commercials for Trump during NASCAR. And Trump's like, yeah, I'll take that. Done.
Oh man, I was watching the
so they settled that.
I was watching the Chiefs Tampa Bay game, and in my head I was just savoring the fact that this would be the end of political commercials during
thank God.
football, because I was like, they're going to pour everything they got on this game, Monday Night Football, right before the election.
I mean, I'm the half of 1% of the U.S. population that loves the political ads.
True. So you really ate them up, especially the Kamala ones. Big Kamala guy.
Oh yeah, gosh. Obviously.
Okay, so you want me to? So we have a request for comment from Josh. Josh, we have an electoral college tie has not happened in modern American history, but in such a close race with so few swing states up for grabs, it's possible that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris end with the same number of electoral votes. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare scenario. The biggest reason it's a nightmare is that you could get a faithless elector, and so Democrats could try to convince one of the 269 Republicans to not vote for Trump. Cast I don't think that's a likely scenario, but you never know. Of course, it could happen the other way too. So if it is deadlocked on whatever it is, I think December 15th, when they actually cast their ballots for the Electoral College in all the different 50 states and DC, and if it ends up in a 269 tie, then what happens is that's funny.
Kamala for president, Ukraine.
You can't throw that in when I'm doing this.
Post.
That was pretty funny.
Sorry,
You
Tom.
threw it- you
Tinfoil
got
Tom
it.
said
Just
that to me. I
stepped
was
on the
like,
joke. It was too good.
got to throw
So
that out.
if it's a 269 tie, but that would be a tie for both president and vice president, and both so the two candidates for vice president would be thrown into the Senate, and the two candidates for House, technically three candidates for president, would be thrown into the House, and the Senate, it's a straight up and down vote on each of the senators, and it's the new Senate that would be elected, and so it's at this rate it's probably going to be at least a 51-49 Republican Senate. And although that's not sure, what if it's a 50-50 Senate? Then Kamala Harris, as the vice president, because she'd still be the vice president on January 6th, she could cast a ballot for Tim Walz, and Tim Walz could be elected the vice president of the United States. Can you imagine that?
No, I don't really want.
But in the House, it's not a straight up and down vote. Every state votes as a delegation. And currently, it's projected that Republicans will have 26 House delegates, state delegations, and so Minnesota, they all vote together, and Michigan
see
votes
where
together,
it's going.
and they each get one vote, and so Donald Trump would probably still be elected president. So you could imagine a scenario in a 269 tie where, actually, you could have President Donald Trump and Vice President Tim Walz.
Oof.
Now, I actually think Republicans are going to end up with that 51st seat anyway. But what if then Lisa Murkowski, the pro-abortion Republican from Alaska, what if she flips? What if Susie Collins from Maine flips and votes, or just says, I can't decide, I'm not going to vote? And you could end up with a scenario where Tim Walz is elected vice president. So nightmare scenario where I don't want a 269. I mean, I would prefer a 269 tie over the Republican getting 268, of course.
Josh, what is a faithless elector?
So that's when you go to vote for president, I voted for Donald Trump in Michigan. And if he wins Michigan, then the 15 people he selected as electors for the state go to Lansing, the state capital, and cast their ballots for Donald Trump. Some states make it illegal to cast the vote for anyone other than you're supposed to, but that's not always the case. Not at every state. And so sometimes someone could say, well, I'm not going to vote for that person. I'm going to vote for somebody else. In 1972, Richard Nixon swept and he won 49 states, right? Well, one of the Republican electors from West Virginia was so frustrated with the price controls that Richard Nixon had put in place. It wasn't free market enough. So he cast a protest vote for the Libertarian Party candidate. And so that's your trivia pursuit question of all time.
Love
the
it.
First woman to get an electoral college vote was the vice presidential running mate, Tony Nathan, in 1972. Because of a faithless elector, the Libertarian Party got one vote, and that's all they've ever gotten. Probably all they'll ever get.
Interesting.
And I think it was in 2000 or something like that, when there's a faithless elector that voted out of D.C., didn't vote for Gore because they wanted to protest that they had no taxation without representation because they don't have any senators or any seats in the House either. It hasn't, I think there was, two faithless electors against Trump the first time, if I remember correctly. It's not super common.
So if someone does that, is there a way to reverse course? Basically,
I mean, I would imagine there would be massive lawsuits, but
Yeah.
I mean, each of the two parties have made it kind of like a blood oath. They pick only the most diehards, and I don't think we're ever going to get a situation again. It's certainly not in this election where some of it. I mean, anything's possible, but I find it rare.
Yeah, I mean, I think that something that we've emphasized over and over again is how much we hope that whatever the outcome is, it's very clear. Josh said,
You're welcome.
it would be very nice given the temperature of things. I mean, we saw images today of DC just boarded up, especially around Howard University, where there's a Kamala watch party, apparently.
oh gosh,
We're looking at people really worried about things like riots, Antifa, lots of things. We even had today breaking news right before we got on. The FBI actually arrested a man who's threatening to attack conservative Christian filth if Trump wins. And so I think that given the temperature of things in the country, we just really hope that it's clear. Like you said, Josh, I would see it as nightmare scenario if we come down to a tie and there's weeks and weeks and this is dragged out in the courts. So clarity would be great.
Is that different than the guy that
Clarity with Trump as winner.
Is that different than the guy that brought gasoline and a flare gun to the Capitol tour?
That's a separate incident.
Separate guy.
Yes,
Okay.
you're mentioning, totally separate. No, this is in Michigan. Actually, this is in Josh's home state. Yep. So scary stuff. Let's have clarity. Let's have a swift end, and let's have a beautiful concession speech from Kamala at about 2 a.m. Eastern.
Hopefully her teleprompter.
All right, so now it's looking like Decision Desk is called.
Let's do it.
Virginia for.
I saw they
Kamala
projected
Harris.
though. I didn't see call yet, by the way,
Projects.
which is different. Because if you look at this map, it's still actually I think we have Trump up slightly in Virginia. Anyway, we look at totals right now. Trump at 101, Harris at 71, Senate Republicans at 43, Dems at 34, and then House Republicans.
I'm sorry, but they did call New Hampshire for Kamala Harris, so that was a state Republicans were hoping to be able to make inroads.
Blue New England, true blue.
Freaking New England, man.
I'm sorry about that. I think we're heading south here.
Yeah, Jersey they called as well. Delaware called. Maryland called.
No surprises.
Yeah. Say no big updates. Josh, why are people talking about Grover Cleveland on Twitter?
Don't you know the answer to that one? I think that's a lead-in on that one.
I'm testing
Grover
you.
Cleveland was elected president, and then he lost re-election, and then he decided to run for president again, and he won. So people on Twitter are sending it around for, no reason. Of course, the idea here, hopefully, is that Donald Trump will have the same fate, having lost re-election, that he will win when he runs for a third time.
Why did he lose the second time and win the third time?
Well, I mean, there's the big panic of 1891 and the stock market crash, and he was like, I'm going to let the market sort it out. And people were like, and they kicked him out. So he was a pretty darn good president.
Almost a COVID level.
One of the best, though. I mean, you want to talk
Sounds
about
familiar.
dirty campaigns.
Would love to talk about dirty campaigns.
Because, all he was a Democrat, and the Republicans were talking about how he had a mistress, it's like, they kept dogging him on the campaign trail with, because apparently he had a son, his mistress had a son out of wedlock. And so it's like, hey, mama, where's my papa? That's what Republicans just dog him as he's doing that. And then finally, when they win, the Democrats are like, I've gone to the White House. Ha, ha, ha. So.
Okay. Tom comedy break. This is one of my favorite tweet captions of all time.
We love you, Tom.
It's just Joe Biden saying I'm sick back in July 17, 2024, I believe is when he had COVID. No context. Just threw up I'm sick.
So weird. Yeah. It's just bizarre.
And so people will take this and caption on top of stuff.
Remember Joe? Joe's in bed now. I'm
Yeah.
kind of jealous.
Oh, yeah. He's still the
now.
president.
Oh,
Jeez.
my gosh. Unbelievable.
Oh, did you guys hear about the Subway takes thing with Kamala?
No.
So there's a YouTube show called Subway Takes, and this guy is on the subway, and he attaches a camera to a subway card, or not a camera, a microphone, and he just asks people. It's very quick interviews. He actually did one with Tim Walz. So the Harris campaign wanted to do one with Kamala, but the guy didn't post it because it went so poorly. I believe he was talking about the Middle East, specifically Palestine, right? Middle East, Palestine.
Yeah.
And she kind of froze up and then made a joke about bacon to a Muslim guy.
Yeah, not good.
Awkward. Wow.
Hey, so you like that one
awkward.
candidate, Lily? It's officially been called for her opponent, Jake
Gosh.
Sullivan.
Dang it, the deep state wins again. Disgusting.
She's coming back, though. Man, she's fascinating. I went on and I read the transcript of her interview she did with Heritage Foundation a couple of years ago, actually. And she was raised in Maoist China. She comes over here and she said it took about 20 years of living here for her to be able to even admit, because she'd been so brainwashed, that her country had gone against, they'd actually been like her enemy the whole time. But 20 years being here, she came over here. She had $100 in her pocket. She was a student, and she's now worth a couple million. So she made it. But she's an amazing story. So I would recommend anyone who wants to go look up Lily. She's a rising star. I think we have not heard the last of her.
Also,
From New
shout
Hampshire.
out Bonnie Salmons. Y'all are the most fun. You make the election night torture more bearable. Is this Eric's wife?
Oh, you do too.
Is this Eric Salmons' wife?
I don't
No
know.
idea.
I don't know.
That'd be
Are you
cool.
Eric?
Maybe, but shout out.
Tom, that is so silly. Why did you say that? That's like saying, "Oh, you're from Indiana. Do you know like some random person?"
I don't know.
That's just.
I thought it
like,
was possible. You've talked to him. We've interviewed him on the show.
well, I know, but like, why would Sam necessarily be married to him? That's kind of weird.
So just, again, still getting early indications, early signs, but all the people at MSNBC are complaining about the Electoral College. So
Well, that's a good sign for Trump.
That's a good
Love
early
it.
indicator.
There's been a couple things that are kind of like setting the seeds for potential election denialism.
Yeah, you think?
Seems a little dangerous to democracy to me.
Yes. All right, Kelly won the governor's race in New Hampshire. Good.
Yes, thank you, New Hampshire. They made one good decision tonight. Good job, New Hampshire. I'm a proud expat, just for Ayat.
That's a whole, but it's an upgrade because Sununu kind of meh.
Yeah, Sununu's whack.
It's coming back. New
All right,
Hampshire's
hey,
coming
we haven't
He's
talked too much about
Orthodox, though, not Catholic, I think, if I remember right? Or is he Catholic? I can't remember.
Josh. We haven't talked too much about
He is.
Arizona. What do you think about the Kerry Lake situation?
Well, I think, okay, so the early vote looks really good for Trump. I feel like he's going to win Arizona. That's of all the swing states, I feel most confident about Arizona. I really do.
It's good to hear.
But Kerry Lake, I thought the world of her like 4 years ago.
I'll never forget. You gave her a huge
Yeah.
shout out on the show. She's the future of the Republican
She's
Party.
so good. And then she just, man, I don't know what, she just stepped
She
on
went
like a landmine. I mean, I don't understand how I don't know. She's crazy. So I like her. I mean, but she just made too many missteps, and we'll see. But if Trump wins by enough of a margin, people vote for Republican in the Senate of the same party almost always, and so she might win despite herself. And this Gallego guy, Ruben Gallego, is a total communist. I mean, I know I say that about every Democrat, but like him, he is just bananas.
You really mean it.
Did you hear about his divorce thing?
Yes.
He basically a couple weeks ago dropped off papers to his wife announcing a divorce and married a woman, or is with a woman like 20 years younger than him or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't
tough.
stand that stuff. That really.
Okay, they called Texas for Trump.
There we go.
Not a shock, but we'll
Not a
take it.
shocker, but still nice. It's a nice big red thing, is Texas. There's a question in the chat. Who is the bust in my background? Let me check that out.
Who's the bust in your back? Or
The bust in my background is George Washington. I pulled
G-dub?
him out just for tonight. My kids actually got this for me when they visited Mount Vernon a couple years ago. with their
it looks like
grandfather.
it looks like they're calling Virginia right now.
What?
Well, I told you they already called. Oh, they
You
haven't
said
called yet.
projected. I think they've
Projected.
called Virginia.
They're giving it to Kamala.
That would have been
That would have
fun.
been fun. That would have been fun. Yep.
They called a statewide vote for Nebraska for Trump, but that's only 2 electoral votes because Nebraska and Maine give most of their electoral votes by congressional district, and if you win the state, you get the additional 2. By the way, that's how James Madison wanted it for every state.
Oh, interesting tidbit.
And in the 1830s, as they were starting to go to winner take all, he's like, no, go stick with the original plan. But we didn't. We made these winner take all, and I don't know if we're better for it. I kind of trust James Madison, father of the Constitution. So something to think about, people.
All right. If Arizona looks good, I mean, if Arizona goes red, do you think Nevada automatically goes red?
Not automatically, no. I think
No.
Nevada is
Toss up.
I mean, Trump won Arizona, Biden won Arizona, so it went both ways. But Nevada both times went for the Democratic presidential candidate. It took, I mean, George W. Bush once won it, but it's been a while.
Okay, so quick update, and then we have a question from
We're
Robin.
getting more states, yeah. North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Kansas. You know, they're calling these races like in about 10 seconds.
Okay, yeah, Wyoming has 0%. They're already calling it. What are we doing here?
Because the 2 people in the cattle that live there are clearly Trumpers.
They're fantastic Americans, is what
I would
they
love
are.
to visit Wyoming. I've never been.
I've been there,
Hey.
and it is as gorgeous as you think it is. Times 10.
I really want to go out there. Hey, maybe one of my kids will want to go to Wyoming Catholic College. Shout out to Barrett Baldwin. Love you. He's out there right now from our homeschool group. Wyoming Catholic College, fantastic school. Look it up.
Shout out
Look it
Kevin Murphy too, for real.
Hey, Kevin Murphy, if you're watching.
Okay, so Josh, question for you. Why is it official when it is called? Who calls it?
So what this means by the calling of a race, okay, it's never 100% official anyway. These are projections that are made by number crunchers, left and right, Republican and Democrat, media, whatever, okay? I don't trust the AP as much. I like the decision desk because I know those guys and they're fair as get out. They just want the real thing. And they were the first ones to call Nebraska, it's on my mind. They're the first ones to call Pennsylvania correctly in 2016, whereas the AP was waiting an additional hour. And they had the numbers, they had the data. It was true.
Right.
And so this is just the Associated Press or the Decision Desk or NBC News or Fox or whatever, looking at the numbers and the votes and seeing where it is historically and saying, you know, unless they're seeing massive movement one way or another, it's like we can pretty much tell how this is going to go. And you say that because, you know, like Iowa, for example, there was that pollster that came out and said Kamala was leading in this poll in Iowa. And I was like, that seems really odd.
Seltzer poll.
But because of that, they're going to wait a little bit longer out of Iowa just to make sure that they're not missing something, But again, in Florida, it's like, he was leading by 700,000 votes. It's like, it would be completely crazy just from a statistics standpoint if all the precincts that reported showed, Trump leading by like 12 points, and then all of a sudden everything changed and they go a different direction. So that's why they make these calls. They are media outlets. The Secretary of State or whoever counts the elections, whatever offices that tabulate the final official results, the official results don't come for like 24, 48, 72 hours sometimes. So it's not official. These are just race calls that media say, hey, look, we've done the math here. It looks pretty obvious what's going on here. Now, 66% of the vote coming in Georgia, and it's looking pretty good.
Really good.
Donald Trump.
6-point lead. This is great.
Also, I saw
North
a lot of
Carolina.
things. I saw a lot of things online about Guam, Josh. What's going on in Guam?
Well, of course, Guam is not a state, so they have no electoral votes, but they do cast their votes for president anyway. They are a territory, and they can, it's helpful to know. And Donald Trump, did so much better there than Republicans ever done before. So that's pretty significant. It's a kind of a bellwether to see whether or not, like, is Trump expanding in his non-white voters, and that is definitely the case, as we've seen in Florida. As these votes are coming in out of Georgia and now Guam. I mean, go figure.
Well, why specifically about Guam flipping?
Well, I mean, it's a territory that has always voted Democrat forever. And, if he would have improved his score a lot.
I'm trying to lead you to the guy that said that Guam would literally flip upside down.
Well, there is a Congressman, Hank Johnson, out of Georgia, who warned that the island of Guam would actually flip into the ocean. He was worried whether or not it would actually, and people are like, as if it's like it's just a floating frisbee that could just flop in. It's like people are like, they're trying to be respectful because he's a member of Congress, but it's like, you just said one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of in my entire life.
Oh man, I want to pull that clip. It's one of the.
That's like something my 7-year-old would come up with. Just
okay, so here's just yeah.
Oh,
well, okay. They called a good friend of ours, Pete Ricketts, the senator from Nebraska. He got reelected. They called that like in 5 minutes, which is good. The other Senate race that's going on there is Deb Fischer. There's
the
liberal, but who's pretending that he's not a Democrat. The Democrats like, we might actually pick up a Senate seat in Nebraska. Those hopes are not over, but they're not looking that good. So I think Republicans will end up winning both. Deb Fischer does look like in a good spot to maintain her Senate seat there.
Erika, I might have to have you mute when you're eating ice cream.
Oh, should I stop eating ice cream into my microphone?
Yeah, I'm getting some like ASMR on the election coverage of Erika having ice cream.
This is amazing. So I know that we had this controversy about New Haven pizza.
Yeah.
And Josh was trashing on New Haven pizza. So this time I didn't want to like ruin Josh's night, but I decided to get New Haven ice cream instead. And this is amazing. This is the best ice cream.
Is it like a different variant of ice cream, or is it?
It's just the best ice cream in all of the world. This is Wentworth's ice cream.
I'm going to say highly doubt better than Wisconsin. But
yeah, I know Wisconsin's a pretty big deal with the dairy products, but this is so good.
Plenty of cows. I think I have the Guam flipping clip. I'm going to play that because it always makes me laugh. Hopefully this is the right one.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Welcome to Planet Weather News.
Sorry, I don't know what it's going into there, but
people.
What'd you say?
What is wrong with these people? That it will capsize?
Yeah.
The top of a mountain. That's what islands are.
That's what I still cannot get over, that we had a 3-4 day outrage cycle over Puerto Rico and trash, because Puerto Rico has a well-documented trash problem. like literally part of the island is a pile of trash. So it wasn't even like it was a joke not based in any fact. That's why I was like, this is so embarrassing from all the people that were outraged over it from these news organizations that had written articles about the trash problem in Puerto Rico. I'm like, you guys,
Yeah.
give me a break.
I don't know. I think the joke was in poor taste, but like the
From
guy
a roast comedian?
No. Yeah, exactly. I'm making the point. Let me finish. So like from a guy whose living is made by making poor taste jokes,
Right.
it's just not a big deal. And it was hours before it anyway. The whole 3-day cycle and the outrage was ridiculous.
Did you see? Well, did you see they kind of brought back? I think the last day of the campaign, they were like, "We want to be a campaign for everyone, and we will be the president." For... I was like, "Guys, you just called us Nazis for 3 weeks.
Oh my God,
Like,
seriously.
you can't just. That's not something you can just pull back at the last second. Like, oh no, we don't think you're floating trash. We don't
Yeah,
think you're
you spent
Nazis."
the whole last 6 months calling us Nazis. Yeah, doesn't fly. Boom. Anyway, I wonder if Joe had his ice cream today. Probably.
Oh yeah, he's probably
This
sitting
is in tribute to Joe Biden, who I am 90% sure voted for Trump. Like, I think he rage voted
It's possible.
and then put on a MAGA hat.
His wife was wearing red today.
Wearing red.
Possible.
I just wanted
Right now.
to read the statement that we put out for Catholic Vote. The defeat of Amendment 4 in Florida, with that pro-abortion amendment. So the defeat of Amendment 4 in Florida is a huge victory for the whole state, especially its most vulnerable. Proponents of Amendment 4 use the same playbook they have in other states, which relied on fear-mongering and disinformation, backed by a funding advantage of tens of millions of out-of-state dollars. But Floridians rejected the proposal when they learned it would open the floodgates for abortion at any time, for any reason, funded by taxpayers. We are grateful to Governor Ron DeSantis,
Yes.
who from the outset led the effort to cut through the pro-abortion campaign of lies and expose the ugly truth about Amendment 4. Ron DeSantis shows what gubernatorial leadership's all about, and he did that in Florida. Mike DeWine did not do that in Ohio. Now, you know who someone else did, as a governor, led on that issue? Unfortunately, the wrong way. Gretchen Whitmer. She 2 years ago put her whole stake on the line, and she understood like this is abortion is absolutely critical. It's everything the Democrats do, and she made it a central focus of her campaign. Republicans don't know what to do. Democrats they're rock solid. They know what they're going to do, and they're going to campaign for abortion like crazy. Republicans are like Mike DeWine are like, oh no, what should I do? Ron DeSantis just told you what you do. You fight. You fight for the vulnerable.
Go Ron.
Ron's go.
I do love Ron.
All right, update. Ohio just got called for Trump. Not super
not a
surprising,
shock.
but
Yes.
But we'll take it.
we'll take
I'll
it.
take it. I'll
So-
take Ohio.
Updated total 137, 99, 46, 35 in the Senate, 77, 55 in the House. Trying to see.
Someone in the chat was like, I have knots in my stomach. I gotta admit, I am a little nervous. This is a high state. I think I have a little PTSD from the purple puddle of 2020.
Hey, should we call Brian? What's Brian up to these days?
Up to Brian.
See how he's feeling? I got my phone
for
on
it,
the chat, but see what what are Brian's thoughts?
Mm-hmm. See if he wants to hop on. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll text him. He has his Apple picture, just the American flag. It's very appropriate.
The NBC exit poll out of Wisconsin shows that Trump has doubled his support amongst black voters. So getting about 20% of the black vote there.
That's amazing.
He only had 8% 4 years ago.
Looks like Obama scolding them didn't work.
Yeah. That was tasty.
I feel like Obama's kind of lost his swag a little bit. Like even him at the rally saying the "Don't Boo" vote, that killed for so long, and now people are kind of like it just didn't. He looks kind of old. He's kind of scolding people. It's like it's. I feel like might be gone a little bit.
Yeah.
That's still tight in Virginia.
Tinfoil Tom's at the Jim Banks party. I wonder if we can get
Jim Banks, fantastic new senator-elect out of the great state of Indiana.
That's awesome.
He's going to be a wonderful senator. And by the way, Jim Banks a great congressman. Now he's moving over to the Senate, and we actually can thank Donald Trump Jr., who exercised a lot of political muscle by quickly endorsing Jim Banks when he announced that he was running for the Senate, because the Senator Mike Braun, was running for governor. But by Donald Trump Jr. staking that claim out early, that was a big thing. And it told former Governor Mitch McConnell, sort of more of the Romney style of the party, he was thinking about maybe running back for the Senate. But because Donald Trump Jr. made that endorsement right away, and everyone knew that he'd get his dad to endorse him as well, that made Mitch Daniels go, I think I'm going to pass on this. And it cleared the path. Jim Banks gets it, and there's no contest.
Awesome.
And so now he's senator-elect.
Mitch Daniels, my man Mitch, has kind of a mythical status around here in Indiana.
Listen, I liked him as governor, okay? I think he had so many great things, and he made things so much more efficient. Like, it was funny. One time,
he's a business guy.
He said he told one of his aides, he gave him a roll of pennies. He says, go down to the parking lot and put a penny on the tire of every car. And the guy's like, what? Because just do it. And then a month later, whatever cars still have pennies on them, we'll sell them because we're not being used. And they sold a lot of cars. The guy's smart. I like it.
That's awesome.
Well,
but then when he was thinking about running for president in 2012, he made this, I mean, it was emblematic of the Republican Party at the time, where he said, maybe we need a little truce on these social issues right now because we got to take care of the deficit and all this other stuff and entitlements. It's like, a truce? Really?
Yeah.
Has anything in the Democratic Party shown that they have any desire for a truce? And what has happened since then? Have they done anything near a truce? No. They're like, we need porno books in schools, and we need to trans your kids. So, yeah, no.
We need boys playing with girls in sports and in their locker rooms and in their prison cells. Like, no truce from the left, no truce from us.
So, I like Mitch Daniels, but not for Senate or president.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Preach. I would love to see Bob Casey go down in flames, but it's not looking like he is at the moment there. What are the chances, Josh, that we see Bob Casey booted tonight?
I'd like to see more numbers out of PA right now.
Yeah.
To figure anything out like that. But somebody made a pretty funny comment on Twitter. I thought I'd share it with people. I got so confused by all the yard signs. I think I might have voted for a realtor.
That's adorbs.
Would you like another comedy break?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to eat more ice cream while you do that.
Jonah Goldberg voted for Paul Ryan.
Yeah. Way to go, buddy.
That's like not funny. That's funny, not
Who
funny.
is Jonah Goldberg for people that don't know?
So he was a blogger, and then he got picked up by National Review Online, and then he's, by the way, amazingly tall. Like, he's like 6'5" or something like that. But he's a super neocon, loves, going to war. And he's a never Trumper par excellence. He's so ridiculously never Trumper, anti-Trump, that National Review basically pushed him out. And now he's with the Dispatch, and I don't know, people who hate. I mean, the Dispatch is read by the 0.5% of never Trumpers in the world and all the media, because media loves to bring on never Trumpers onto air, say, I'm a conservative and I hate Trump. Okay.
My parents' reaction to the Loopcast. Wow, these are normal people. This is so relaxing. I love it.
That's
Do you think
awesome.
Are we normal?
Are we relaxing?
It might be a stretch. It might be relaxing.
To offer a counterpoint on whether or not Josh Mercer's normal, here is my wife. Come on.
Lori.
I could get my wife in here too. I'm sure she'd have some things to say. Thank you. Appreciate the compliment.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so moving on from Jonah. And Jonah Goldberg has one of my favorite tweets of all time. It always comes up. He said back during the laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop, it's like, so you believe the laptop story like at face value? And that was probably
like you were an idiot for assuming it was true, and then it turned out to be totally true. Yeah.
Right. But 51 national security experts said that it's not real. Oh, Brian said at big election party, how many people watching? Are you serious, Brian? We're gonna get big timed here? You don't have time for us? I think
he's a popular man.
That's true. At speaking, we have 1,000 on YouTube. We're at like 2,200 across all platforms. This is going to be a great live test to see if Brian cares about us. Let's see.
Ask him what's our threshold. How many do we have to get for him to deign to talk to us tonight? Is that
what?
He gives us the rookie numbers.
Let's. I remember him telling me one time he I think he went on a Fox hit or something, and we were gonna have him on to interview. He's like, "You guys aren't big time yet," or something like that. I was like, "Dang it, Brian knows how to
respect
motivate
that. I respect that.
He knows how to motivate
he gives
me.
us
I'm
a
like,
goal.
all right,
Yeah, we're motivated.
fire under my butt now. Seriously.
Strive for excellence.
So let's text him.
Award.
What threshold
Yep.
do we need to meet for your presence?
There you go.
Okay, so while we're at another little update, Nate Cohen, the number cruncher at the New York Times, he said that while Kamala Harris is still favored to win New Hampshire and Virginia, two Democratic-leaning states, she's not doing so by the same margins Biden won 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian's watching because he said he just responded with more than 3K. He's for sure watching. All
right. Everybody go get your friends to log on to LOOPcast right now so we can get Brian on here.
And climbing fast. I'll say 2.3 right now and climbing fast.
And climbing fast because everyone watching right now is going to go have their significant other log on to LOOPcast on their device.
Just encouraged audience to watch on multiple devices.
Get our numbers up, y'all. Vote like a dead Democrat.
Yeah. Yeah, go find some dead relatives.
That's right.
Grab all.
As Senator John Kennedy said.
Yeah.
Someone actually sent me another Kennedy ad that was their favorite. I can't remember what it was. Something about dead relatives. If your dead relatives can vote, you can too. It was a legitimate Kennedy ad. The best. What was your favorite ad of the cycle, Josh?
Ooh, good question.
The Hung Chow ad out of Virginia where he knocks on the table.
Oh, that was good.
I'm going to try and find it. You should find that one.
I showed it to my father-in-law, who is member of the United States Marine Corps, and he appreciated it.
I do remember that one. Okay, where are we at? Any updates?
Well,
Texas,
the New York Times
Texas.
needle. Remember the needle for the New York Times? The New York Times has increased Trump's chances of winning. They're now projecting him at 285. Of course, you never know with these needles, right? They're finicky because they had Hillary like way over this and then it flipped. So we'll see. But
let me share that. Actually, I have the needle. Shout out Rod Dreyer.
Hey, Rod. Oh. We are leaning Trump. That's what we like to see. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, they're at 66% chance for Trump victory in the New York Times.
Oh, and the boy Sagar up here.
Oh, I love Sagar.
What is?
Yes, Sagar agreed that if Kamala wins, he will wear a Harris T-shirt tomorrow. Crystal Ball, if Trump wins, will wear a MAGA hat. So,
what a name!
Crystal Ball.
Awesome.
I know, like
what a
to
name.
be a political analyst.
Her parents for sure they knew what they were doing.
Oh, totally. Crystal Ball.
Sagar's big on the weed thing. I think that's been he might be even more excited about weed going down in Florida than the presidential election.
Weed needs to go down. Defeat big tobacco.
Okay.
What, tobacco's behind that?
No, but it would be like
tobacco.
it would be analogous to another big tobacco to get like big weed in Florida. How's that?
Oh, I saw an analogy. I'm actually curious your thoughts on this, Josh, if we have an intermission. I saved it. Someone made an analogy to the pro-life or the gun lobby and smokers. Let me pull that up. Okay. So the initial tweet. Let me pull this up.
While you're looking for that, I want to try to find out what's going on in the Ohio Senate race, which could be an important bellwether. So it looks like Sherrod Brown, the Democrat there, he's a total piece of work.
Total communist.
He's trailing by 3 points, so that's good. The Bernie Moreno's at above 50 right now, 50%. But we still have, it's too early to make any kind of call because there's still only about 58% of the votes, expected votes are in. So it's not precincts before; it is actual votes, projected votes. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, an exit poll just came in. This is interesting just in terms of demographics that initial exit polls show Donald Trump on track for the highest Hispanic support ever for a GOP presidential candidate with 45% nationally. This surpasses George W. Bush's 2004 share. So obviously the numbers might adjust on that, but 45%. That's
And
historic.
Trump
And
did it by calling for, deportations.
right.
And George W. Bush didn't get it done, and he was calling for amnesty. It's almost like Latinos in this country don't want a lawless open border. Oh,
Yeah.
riddle me this, Batman. By the way, do you see this exit poll out of your home state of Michigan there?
Am I? The mitten?
Let's do it.
Trump is winning 18 to 29-year-olds in Michigan by 5%, according to an exit poll from NBC.
That's you. That's your peeps.
Shout out my brother Luke. Shout out my brother Marcus.
And a shout out to my daughter, who has cast her first presidential vote.
Oh,
That's
absentee.
awesome.
She did.
Well, and the entire student body of Hillsdale College.
She assured me that she did not vote for the
Shout out.
communists, so I feel good about that. I've
Nice.
done something right.
All right. Bit of a lull. I have another comedy break.
Do it. I'll eat more ice cream. I like these breaks.
Comedy break.
How did this happen?
How do we explain how this is possible?
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell.
Decency lost last night.
This is a shot against meritocracy, I think, because she merited everything. The normal way you standardize these things, she did what she's supposed to do to win.
And it is a moment filled with fear. From slavery to Nazism, we have faced challenges before.
It's a different Earth today than it was 24 hours ago. It's a different place. Cause it just is different.
Feels like the end of the world.
The violin is awesome.
Avoid the apocalypse, and half of the country is voting for the asteroid.
Is there a doomsday plan?
Oh, man. Shout out to America 2100 and the
That was
boy
a
Nate
great
Hockman.
night.
Yes.
That never gets old. What we got, Josh?
Fox News decision desk calls Texas for Ted Cruz. That's good. We like it.
Yep.
Okay.
Bring it. Texas stays red.
So not really a pickup chance for the Dems because Nebraska's their only hope at this point of trying to pick up a seat. So that means...
Josh, I have some more breaking news.
Do it.
Come on, for real. Yeah, baby.
Decision desk projects.
Donald Trump is the winner of North Carolina.
Praise Jesus.
And
Love
that
to
was...
see it.
There it goes.
That's revenge over FEMA and Hurricane Helene right there.
Yes.
Couldn't stop the people.
Yeah, and hey, prayers for the people out there. I mean, I saw pictures today of people out near Asheville who still don't have power, still don't have running water, but they were in line at the polls this morning. So massive shout out to those people. Thank you for participating.
That's pretty darn early. If that's before 9:30,
That's
man.
great. Yeah.
That is huge. Georgia's going to be looking pretty good.
All right, let's keep going.
I need more.
I've got my celebratory bourbon right back there. A little early though, guys.
Well, I have a tradition on election night.
Oh, okay.
If my candidates lose, I drink. If my candidates win, I drink.
That's real creative. I saw where you're going for there. Someone said if Trump wins, should we wear trash bags tomorrow? I have a take on this. I think it was funny at first, but I don't want it to be too much of a self-own at this point. Like,
I will say this though. Yeah, I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a little bit of a psyop. It's like, I know that's what they think of us, but that doesn't mean that we are trash and we need to act like trash.
Thank you, Poco.
You know what I'm saying?
That was inspiring.
No, I don't think we do.
You're right. I'm not trash.
You're not trash. Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was cute, but we're good.
Some more info here. Decision Desk is projecting that Kamala is going to win Virginia by 4.6 points. Just to give an idea, Biden won it by 10.
Inroads.
That's a 5-point shift.
I mean, Loudoun County, that's a big swing. No question. Looks like we have a lot of bourbon fans in here.
I know. I'm excited. You guys are great.
Never too early for bourbon. Look,
it is for me, dear.
We got to get up and do another show tomorrow. Erika.
Yeah, right.
So not, not too much bourbon.
I'm not talking like
Josh, same goes to you, buddy. I'm like, I think I'm probably gonna have
What
some
are we worried
Diet
about?
Coke to in honor of Donald J. Trump.
a lot of coffee tomorrow morning.
You guys have seen the picture of Trump from the Al Smith dinner sipping on Diet Coke, right?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
I know. For election night, my kids put together Diet Coke and fries for Donald Trump.
Oh, yep.
Bring victory.
We hung our stockings by the chimney with care and hoped that Donald Trump soon would be there. It's like, he'll bring you
that's a
French
bar.
fries. Yeah.
Erika, have you been collecting any other cool quotes?
Cool quotes? Yes, in
Yeah.
fact, I have. Yeah.
All right. While you do that, here's Donald Trump sipping on Diet Coke.
I love that.
This is such an alpha move. Everyone looks one way, I look the other. Different.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at a combined almost 2.5 thousand. That's not good enough for Brian yet. So if you have, if you're a big fan of Brian, call your sister, call your friend, pick up your plug phone, pick up your second phone, maybe buy a phone if you have the funds. Watch the YouTube, watch on the YouTube, watch on the Twitter. YouTube's popping right now. We're at 1,100.
I mean, not that we're surprised here, but Trump won Louisiana again. No shock.
Yes, shout out Senator Kennedy.
And
I love Senator Kennedy.
she's won. Kamala Harris won New York. Not a shock.
Yeah.
Oh man, someone's calling out me for not drinking with you guys. I have done it before.
He's the host. Let him
I'm the
loose.
host. Yeah, I got a lot of folks on here, but the one time I did drink, I also wore shorts.
Okay, now no media has done this yet. Okay, but hold on a second. Now
Thanks for
listen.
the save.
Hold on. Now Henry Olson, he's at the Ethics and Public Policy Center. He's a number cruncher par excellence. He's a total straight shooter too, and I like the guy. He's saying his math. Georgia's going to go for Trump. He's calling it. He's calling it. And that's no media call, but I'm telling you, this is looking good, dude.
This is great. This is so good.
And if he does, Josh, why? Why do you think he'll win?
Well, I mean, the voices are coming in. I mean, again, you start to look at different things. Okay, so like there's Duval County in southern Georgia, I believe it is, which moved to the right by 5 points. We're seeing that one county I mentioned earlier that's like 40% black that made a major shift towards Trump. So again, as the votes come in, more data comes in, more votes comes in, it starts to pile up, and it's like, it's looking pretty darn good.
All right, comedy break. Do you guys want to see what Joy Reid thought about Florida?
Oh, I would love to see Joy Reid right now. So much joy.
They can run. It's a pure Project 2025 in miniature in Florida, and that kind of extreme, sort of extremist right-wing fascist type government in Florida, does that make it a more attractive place, or does it make it more like some of the other southern states that don't get a lot of investment and interest from? They can run.
What is she talking about? Florida has welcomed millions of refugees from communist California in the last
or Michigan.
Or Michigan. And she's like, people won't want to move there anymore. Yeah, right.
Erika, you ever thought about that haircut?
Oh, Joy Reid?
Yeah.
It would be easier. It would be simple. Actually, when I was discerning the Carmelites, yes, that would have been my haircut under the veil.
My.
Wait, you discerned the Carmelites?
I was, yeah. One of my
How close
plans,
were you?
Not very close. They were short-lived. Dominicans much longer, probably 2 years on the Dominican sisters. But Carmelites that was my initial attraction to the convent, was Carmel.
Josh, you ever think about the priesthood?
I had Father Frank Pavone and my own grandmother both praying for me on that, and it did not happen because I believe the good Lord intended me to be a dad.
Amen.
Not a shock. What I say, Larry Hogan had that 10% chance. It's now 0. They called it for the Democrat in Maryland, and Angela also Brooks. That's not a shock, and that seat was already Democrat. But
and I'm almost kind of happy that Larry Hogan lost. As bad as the other person is, him running abortion ads was enough to make me mad.
Yeah, it made me kind of vomit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still scouring MSNBC for good.
That's just amazing. To call it 9:22 decision desk calling it for Trump to win in North Carolina. That's big. That's one of those states that Democrats are like, and they just can't ever get it. It's beautiful. I mean, Obama did, but ever since then, and then Romney flipped it and it hasn't gone back.
I mean, they called that pretty quick, North Carolina.
That's what I'm saying. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, they're getting their votes in faster. States like Michigan, I think, will also count their votes quickly, but Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, I think we're going to see some lag times. Arizona, Nevada, too. So, again, I would just recommend every state adopt the Florida model for elections. Allow absentee votes, allow early in-person voting, and allow your election officials to count votes beforehand. That's what they do in Florida, and that's why we already know what's going on in Florida. We've been knowing what's going on in Florida for an hour and a half. The third largest state in the union.
Sorry, I just saw a tweet said, "Oof, it is not looking good for Biden."
That's funny.
Oh man, what a time to be alive! Still can't believe he's not on the ballot, but they did it.
Well,
they did it.
If
how much worse do you think it would be,
staged a coup.
Josh? How much worse do you think it'd be if Biden was on the ballot?
I've said this. I think it was a mistake for them to kick Biden off the ballot. There's a lot of Catholic voters, unfortunately, that were duped by his sort of Irish Catholic thing, and they liked him. They just had an affinity for him. You know, this Irish Catholic. And
you think he would have done better?
I do think he would have done better. I think it was foolish.
Even with the trash comments, even with the smacking.
Well, he only made the trash comments to kind of throw a little shade at Kamala. I think that was intentional.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought that
certainly
was
a take.
Just like his repeated statements to the press as she was trying to distance herself from him.
So Fox is calling it for New Hampshire for Kamala.
Yeah.
I just got an update on Iowa too. Kamala's up right now, 9% in.
Wow, there's not much in yet. Yeah, we'll see.
But that's still pretty early. That would be rough if you lost Iowa.
Yep.
We would be in some trouble.
The political markets are moving again. Poly market's up to 80% now for a Trump win, but who knows?
So if Kamala's lost North Carolina, she's lost Georgia.
No, Georgia's not done yet.
Well, yeah, okay. Say she does.
Oh yeah, fat lady hasn't sung on that one yet.
Yeah,
no pun intended. Georgia. So say she loses North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona. What would be her path to victory at that point?
Well, she'd have to win the whole blue wall, and if she wins Nevada, then she's fine.
Nevada.
She's president.
All right, Erika, hold down the fort.
You got it. Oh, there goes Pogo, taking a little break. All right, financial markets majority. Yep. Yeah, the Daily Wire, of course, they're bringing up Florida because Ben Shapiro is like the Florida missionary. His goal is to get everyone to move to Florida. It's good. All right, Pogo just left me, and I don't.
Unfortunately, the voters in Maryland have approved. This is not a shock, but the voters in Maryland have approved their pro-abortion initiative to put it into the state constitution. Again, a long road ahead to make sure that we can protect all children in our laws and in our constitution. So, unfortunately, not a surprise. Maryland, a very blue state. No one really thought that was going to. But again, it's tragic.
It is, yeah. Missouri is not looking great either. Missouri also has pro-abortion ballot initiative, and right now they're at 61% saying yes, 38% saying no. So it does not look good in Missouri either, unfortunately, tonight for the pro-life cause. But I think to your point, Josh, I mean, Florida abortion amendment, that's a massive victory. And even if it's the only one, it's a chink in the armor, right? It's a movement.
They didn't win everywhere. That's what they always want to be able to say. They did not win everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, it's leadership. Ron DeSantis,
yeah,
a hero.
And I would say massive shout out to the Catholic Vote team. They poured everything. The political team poured everything in there. And I do want to mention Logan Church right now. She's been on this program a couple of times. Obviously, Brian, Congressman Tim Heelskamp, who's worked with us, Tommy Valentine, the whole political team.
And all the volunteers. Unbelievable.
And the volunteers
just amazing.
thousands and thousands of you who were part of this and made that call. Really awesome. So just a reminder to everyone, if you are joining us for the first time and you have not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell. We do this 3 times a week. We do this. When do we do this, Josh?
Monday, Wednesday,
11.
Friday at
Yeah,
11
late.
Eastern.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. So you can join us here live. We're also on all the podcast platforms, so make sure you do that. All right. Anything exciting coming up for you, Josh?
I mean, Virginia's got 62% of the vote, and, Trump is like leading by a sliver. I mean, who knows what's left out? I mean, there could be a lot of Democratic votes left out, but it's, again, if you're Kamala Harris, you want Virginia called already or close.
Right.
And you want North Carolina still on the board, and you want Georgia looking good, and that's not happening in any of those spots. So she's running into problems south of the Mason-Dixon line. She was counting on black voters to bring her in to victory in North Carolina, and that didn't happen. Trump won North Carolina. She's hoping that black voters and white suburban voters in Atlanta would give her a chance there. Not looking good for Kamala, looking good for Trump in Georgia. So again, major black voter defection from the Democratic ticket. Trump is actually leading in a black polarity county in North Carolina, Anson County. Trump has 51% to 48%. Again, this is a county that went narrowly for Biden, but now it's going narrowly for Trump. 47% of the voters in that county are black, and they went with Donald J. Trump.
Did you see New York Times move Michigan from toss-up to Trump likely?
What?
No, I saw him move it from likely Harris to toss-up. You're saying it's now moved to toss-up to likely Trump? I want to make sure I get that right.
As of 4 minutes ago, yeah. Think about this, Josh. If the Lions win the Super Bowl and Trump wins, this could possibly be the greatest year of Michigan history.
I mean, Michigan would be back.
Michigan would be back.
Pogo, if that happens, you will have peaked very early in your career. That is like
if this
the best
happens,
year of your life. Very young.
Catch me at the Lions Super Bowl parade, and I'll send all kinds of pictures for the Loopcast to show up. I won't be there. I'm sorry, I won't be here with you guys. I will be at a Super Bowl parade living my best life. But shout out to Brad Holmes and the Lions organization going after an edge rusher at the trade deadline. So the trade deadline's today, the same day as the election. Talk about high pressure. Went and grabbed a great edge rusher. Things are looking great for the Lions. And the Pistons won 3 of 4. Michigan might be back. All right,
Lions
that's enough Detroit
team.
sports talk.
I'll give them that.
Okay.
We got Kansas, very likely Republican.
All right, and as there's naturally going to be some blows in the coverage. If you guys have questions, they could be random questions. They could be election-related questions.
A little FAQ Friday on Tuesday night.
Political questions. They can be religious questions. We welcome all questions.
Grammatical questions. I'm big on grammar questions.
Yeah. Shout out my boy Luke Starr, my brother-in-law. Love that y'all crushed the Packers. You're welcome. We did a service to the community there. Those lines they're different this year. Josh, how are you feeling okay, so good question maybe to start with. I remember sitting with you in 2020 at this point in the night. It's almost 10 o'clock. How do you feel now compared to how you felt then?
Well, again, there's the way you feel during the course of the campaign and then election night as the results came in. And in 2016, I was pretty pessimistic about Trump. And then near the end, I think, there's a path. I feel kind of good, like it could happen. And he did it. He pulled the inside straight. He took down the blue wall and he won. It was awesome. And I felt like I was one of the few that were saying, no, this could happen. In 2020, Republicans, I thought, were a little too too optimistic. I mean, the economy had done so good. He had done so much in office, accomplished so much more than we had ever thought a Republican president could do. He was awesome. And then COVID hit, and it was just everything, all the cards thrown in the air. And I thought, this is kind of a big deficit to overcome. I was kind of bearish on his chances of winning. Well, come on, man. He could defy the polls. I mean, he defied the polls the last time by 3 points, but doing it by 7, and he almost did. came 44,000 votes away from getting reelected 4 years ago. I mean, that would have just amazing. But this time around, this campaign, I've long felt that Trump was in a great position. The mood of the country, they want change. They're upset with the economy. Immigration, inflation are major issues, and that's what exit polls are bearing out. The direction of the country is not good. The president's party in office has low approval ratings. I felt, Trump is in an excellent position, and I feel good right now. North Carolina's already off the board. Trump won. Georgia's looking really good. Florida was like they thought Trump would win by about 8 points. He won it by 12. And we'll see. We got another little bit to go here as more data comes in. If Georgia can get, if he can lock a win in Georgia, that would be awesome.
Okay, questions came in. Someone did name their dog after me on a previous episode, and yes, I did get pictures. Here is the new mascot of the Loopcast.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute. That is adorable.
It's Pogo the dog.
Tom, how do you feel about that? Can you articulate your emotions when you see little Pogo the puppy?
I feel good. Mm-hmm. It's, sometimes after great men, they name monuments, people's children. For me, I'll settle for dogs. So I'm very happy to be associated. It looks like, and maybe Doug's here, it looks like a poodle of some kind or a
golden doodle, maybe.
Hey, some news for you here, Tom.
Okay.
More than just being named a dog named after you.
Dog named after you?
I get it.
How many dogs are named after you?
Well, I mean, is that an insult or a compliment? I don't know, but
take that how you will.
You live in Indiana now, and Mike Braun is your new governor.
Oh,
yes.
Just
called it for him. Great guy.
Okay, that's big time. That's big time. Yes. Okay.
It's a good night.
McCormick was like the epitome of everything that I would despise in a governor. Super pro-abortion, white liberal woman. Educate.
She probably did well in Carmel, I'm guessing, but
actually, I don't know about that. But I also am super fired up about my local school board election, and I'm curious on the results on that. I'm sure we have it if all the votes are in, but it's basically the establishment versus based engineers that were immigrants that just want excellent educational standards. And I watched the debate between the candidates. One is Firkum. Firkum was the one I liked. She is from Argentina, came here, went to West Point, and then became like a data scientist or engineer of some kind. And then she's running basically to get political ideology out of schools and for educational standards to be high. And then the people she's running against are very much like educational bureaucrats, worked their entire careers within educational
teachers union. Yeah.
And I was watching the debate between the two of them, and instantly I was upset at the lady's name was Wheeler, I think, because she was talking about how Carmel had closed a elementary school that it's no longer in use, but we're paying for upkeep on. And she accused her opponent, Firkum, of wanting to sell that property for $1. Turns out it's Indiana state law. It has to be sold for $1. And so she wasn't trying to do that. It's just Indiana state law. And a charter school called Valor Academy, Christian charter school, tried to buy it. They weren't given the school. And so they sued for that property. And this Wheeler lady was like, yeah, this alt-right Christian extremist school tried to buy this property, and now they're in this lawsuit, whatever. And Firkum quickly was like, there's 600 people on this wait list for a building that's not currently being used that we're paying for. Why should we rob Carmel residents of that educational experience? Clearly there's desire for it. And I went to this Valor Academy. I don't know too much about them, but it was a classical, like it looked like a Christian hybrid school. I was like, this is what we're calling alt-right these days. Like it was honestly
that Overton window shifted.
That was enough. I was like, that's enough. I was like, I'm not voting for you. So I'm invested in the school board race for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we're getting multiple questions in the chat.
Okay. Before we get to that question, though, I just wanted to, okay. Brian's not coming on to the Loopcast chat just yet, right? Well,
no, we're at 2,600. We're working our way.
I'm just saying, former Catholic Vote employee just sent me a little message. She said, I was invited to that same party that Brian's at, but I decided to stay home and watch the LOOPcast instead.
Who?
Love it.
Reveal
So
source.
Elizabeth argue. Thank you.
You've chosen well. You've chosen the better part. It shall not be taken from you. That's awesome. Okay,
Gosh,
we have a question. We have a grammar question, y'all.
What's the grammar question?
Oxford, comma, yes or no?
I'm gonna.
I am.
I'm
Do
a
I have
yes.
to be the guy? What is an
I'm a
Oxford
yes.
comma?
Oxford, comma.
A
It's an
panda
Oxford shirt.
eats shoots and leaves.
Yep.
That's the joke. Are they going to eat the shoots and
Shoots and
leaves, or does it shoots you and take off?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's when you add a second, when you have three things you're talking about, A, B, and C. Do you do A, comma, B, comma, and C? Or do you not have that additional comma before the and?
So, I mean, yes. Why is this controversial?
Whatever. I use it,
Really
but
strange.
people get really emotional about it.
Yeah.
Is it almost like pizza, localized pizza?
Oh, my light just turned off.
About that trash.
Oh, Erika, dark mode. Dark mode.
No, it does that once in a while.
She's gone dark MAGA.
I'm going dark MAGA. I wanted a dark MAGA hat, but it wouldn't have gotten here in time. I was pretty mad. Anyway, I'm going to go adjust that light.
Oh, shout out my neighbor, Matt. He's joined the live stream. Erika's gone. Okay, we're back. All right, I want to see that school board election. Ah, dang it. I knew it wasn't going to go our way. Ugh.
Oh, now we have the grammar people in the chat. I didn't know there were so many of you. Who said no Oxford comma? This is good, though.
Shasta,
What keeps us awake as it gets
337.
late. Sorry. I love this litany to Mary that is occurring in our chat. Have you guys noticed this? Like every few, I don't know if it's one person. I can't see very well. It's getting late. But we have like different names for our mother praying for us. That's right.
Nice. That's solid. You like that.
Super solid. We have the best audience here.
To what area of Croatia does your family heritage trace? Have you visited? I've never visited Croatia. I believe it is Zagreb. My parents just went to Croatia. They said it was wonderful, and I would love to go there.
I really want to go someday.
If we get some big sponsors on this podcast, so let me know if anyone has a lot of money, send it my way. I'll go. Listen, twist my arm. I'll go to Croatia if you need me to. I'll vlog it. Let's see.
After Mercer visits Tokyo.
Ooh, this is fun. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, of course. Potential picks for Trump cabinet, Josh. Let's go dream picks and then realistic picks.
I'd like Kyle Serafin as head of the FBI.
That would be sick.
Oh, did you see that View clip about the View wanting Liz Cheney to be the
defense secretary?
Defense Secretary Liz Cheney.
Perfect. That or the head of the FBI or CIA.
Would be the second Cheney to serve as defense secretary.
I hate Liz Cheney so much.
I do too. Okay.
Gosh, she's the worst.
With the burning heat of 1,000 suns.
Okay, but Josh, possible cabinet picks.
That's a good question. I'd like to make sure he had I want Bobby Kennedy giving me advice on health, but I don't want him running HHS. I want a pro-lifer there for sure. You should send this message to Tinfoil Tom and get his picks.
TFT?
Yeah.
I'll text him.
Yeah, Tinfoil Tom has a good one.
Oh, should we he's at the
just send him a message or whatever. He's probably not ready for a setup.
Well, he's going to start a new position, right? There's going to be a new Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk. New cabinet position.
They should have a new bureau. They should call it the Department of Redundancy Department.
That's right. I forgot about that joke. That's a good joke.
He's on Tom.
Yeah.
McCluskey's on Slack. I
I would
I should
love-
stop calling him Tinfoil Tom. People are confused. I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I'm still going to call him Tinfoil Tom.
It just rolls off the tongue. It's one of those
Any
things.
comment for the Loopcast? I'm also a big talk while I text guy, if you can't tell.
Yeah. I mean, you're what are you, Gen Z?
Yeah, I would love to see Dr. Means as HHS secretary. He's pretty Casey Means. That would be great. Surgeon
I got
General.
people fired up.
Man, is this true that like Trump? There's 65% of the vote in Virginia, and Trump is still ahead. I mean, I'm guessing it's Arlington and Alexandria that are still out, but
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard. Maybe Tulsi Gabbard on defense.
Yeah, just people who aren't obsessed with sending my children overseas to fight in pointless wars.
People who aren't going to draft my son.
I like that you say that. I mean, your son is still in diapers, but whereas my kids are actually close to fighting age, I'm much more worried. But I appreciate the sentiment. You're saying it on behalf of other parents.
No, my son and my future daughter, because there's no distinction anymore. We draft men and women.
It's
Because
funny, this whole abortion debate.
many
People start
talk
talking about you don't have a uterus, you don't get any opinion on this, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I don't need a uterus to play girls' sports anymore, so why would I need it to have an opinion on abortion?
That's facts.
It's a good point. Hey, we do have a question from a staffer here. We have a filibuster question. If Kamala loses, does she 25th Amendment Biden and be president for 3 months?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Cabinet won't vote for it. Not enough. No.
Nope.
The only thought I had would be that, if he decided on his own volition to get out of the campaign, which I don't think he did, I think he was shoved out.
Yeah.
He might have decided to resign like a week early and let her be president for a week, but he's not going to do that now that you shoved him out. So yeah, he'll stick with it to the end.
Yep.
Should we do a quick
Okay,
update?
here in Michigan, Muskegon County is way outperforming for Trump, so that's a good sign for things in Michigan.
We got Mike Rowe for labor secretary.
That would be awesome.
That would be pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Dirty jobs guy.
That'd be awesome.
Love the dirty jobs guy.
Okay, quick update. Let's share the election map as we are now. And there's been some that have been called that are not reflected
Again,
on this. But
Wisconsin leaning now towards Trump.
so Trump's at 188 right now. Harris at 99. Senate 46 to 35 hasn't moved too much. 111 House, 77 Dem. I don't think there's been any. I mean, Louisiana, no surprise. Alabama, we didn't really talk about, but no surprise.
Why the New York Post or Washington Post hasn't marked North Carolina yet?
I know.
Yeah.
Looks like we have 65% been counted.
Okay, so the New York Times has got the needle at 71% chance of Trump victory, with 287 the projected Electoral College estimate. They're giving Virginia likely D, Georgia lean R. Still too close to call in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan.
CBS is saying we probably won't know the results of Pennsylvania tonight.
I said that from the start. Yeah, Wisconsin
no
and
way.
Pennsylvania. I don't know, unless the numbers become monster,
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, is
Right.
Hawley's up big on Kuntz, the guy that shoots reporters.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, I like Josh Hawley, but no, I won't make it.
Wait, what was your joke?
Nah.
He likes anyone who shoots reporters.
Oh, did I tell you I had a
Right over your head, Tom. Right over
It's
your
getting
head.
late, Mercer. It's past his bedtime.
Sorry, I'm
He's
sipping
a
on
young
Diet
dad.
Coke as fast as I can.
Yeah.
But did I tell you that Josh Hawley retweeted a meme that I made about that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that. So for maybe people don't even know this happened. I think we covered it on the Loopcast, but Lucas Kuntz is running against Josh Hawley in Missouri, and he brought out the big guns. Literally, and brought out Adam Kinzinger, and they did kind of a fake shooting event for their campaign, and they had a rifle with a scope on it from about 10 yards away, and they were shooting at steel targets with tannerite on the table. So just in about every way, the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
And the bullet that was Lucas Kuhn shot a bullet and it ricocheted off and it hit a reporter in the arm. And the funny thing about it was Lucas Kuntz himself still shared this event. Like, what a great day at the range. So here's the event. I mean, I cannot get over how dumb this is.
He's like, that's
here's a rifle. This is a
gosh.
huge rifle with a huge scope on it. We're probably 10 yards away, and maybe that's even generous. Tannerite on the table, legitimate explosives. And he's like, great day at the range. It was like he literally shot a guy. And then the best part about being a Democrat is I think they said, wow, ex-Marine Lucas Kuntz applied first aid to someone who was shot at the event. But they didn't say who shot the person. Lucas Kuntz shot him. So it's like being a Democrat's the best because you could shoot someone and
then
still
you can
get
take
credit.
care of them. It's great.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I
It's
made
like
this
Kamala
meme.
Harris. She's like, I totally broke the economy and now I can fix it for you. It's great.
Right.
Oh yeah, I love this one.
Lucas
This is a
Kuntz
great
explaining to journalists that it's a great day at the range after shooting them. It's Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson and Jesus.
That made its way all the way to Josh Hawley. So I thought that was kind of
great.
funny. Power of the
That's a
internet.
good one. Yeah.
Also, the JD, I had to work through the JD Vance interview. And I'm also reading Hillbilly Elegy right now.
Yeah. It's a really good book, right?
The joke he made about how Kamala Harris lies and comparing it to his 2-year-old baking with him. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
Oh
no.
my gosh,
Is that on the Joe Rogan interview?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Basically, he was like, yeah, Kamala Harris just lies in the most bizarre ways. For example, like I like to bake, and so I'm baking with my 4-year-old, and we were making Oreo cake, and I had to go to the bathroom, and then I came back, and I saw that half the Oreos were gone. And my 4-year-old, I was like, hey, buddy, like what happened to the Oreos here? And the 4-year-old said, I didn't eat the Oreos. You ate the Oreos.
That's awesome. That is so my experience with 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
And Kamala Harris.
Because it's perfect in a lot of ways
Correct.
because it's like her whole strategy's been, I'm just going to accuse you of everything that I'm doing. Like the political persecution thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
The
he's going to jail his
weaponization.
political opponents.
Right. Wait, that's what you've been doing for 3.5 years.
What's going on here? Yeah, I got a bunch of people in the chat saying they read the Hillbilly Elegy. I cannot recommend this book enough. I'm not all the way done with it, so maybe it gets horrible at the end.
No, it's really
But
good.
he's a great writer. I actually think few people would be able to write. The way he recounts everything is honest. It feels honest, but it's also very endearing in events that should not really be endearing. I mean, talking about growing up as a hillbilly with a lot of domestic violence, uncertainty,
Substance abuse. all the crazy
abuse.
stuff,
I mean, it was nuts. I love Mama in the book. I want to hang out with Mama so bad. She sounds like a legend.
Yeah.
His grandma, who was a fierce defender of him and a hard woman. So
Yeah, I think that book did so much to humanize the forgotten America, and the left loved him for it at first.
You know why they loved him for him?
Why they love him for it?
Because he was conservative voice, but at the time he was still Trump's too far.
He was he was like Trump is bad.
So he was anti-Trump. So like this is perfect. This is a guy who could talk about hard scrap living and he's like anti-Trump. So I had him on a lot, and then he starts listening more to Trump. He's like, I think this guy gets it, kind of actually.
Yeah,
so,
well, he's someone who's swayed by real evidence and concrete, data points, right? So he's someone who will look at reality and adjust his views accordingly, which is something that I don't think ever would have occurred to Kamala Harris. So the contrast there. But another piece of writing by J.D. Vance, lesser known, there's a periodical called The Lamp, which is run by some Catholic people who
Matthew Walther, yeah.
Yeah. So they're good.
Michigan
they're good,
guy.
interesting stuff. Hard. It's very lofty, but J.D. Vance actually wrote his conversion story for The Lamp.
Wow.
Shortly
really?
after. So I think it was 2021. I'll have to
That's
go look up
awesome.
what issue it was, but it was really
converted,
meaningful. Yeah, I would highly recommend. Look it
I
up.
didn't know that
Grab it.
existed. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
He also wrote a great op-ed in the Post-Gazette, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, about her anti-Catholic bias. Super well laid out. Update to the map.
Do it.
The Mormons have gone for Trump. Utah.
There you go.
0% in, but we knew.
I love
We always
those.
knew.
It's
The
my
Mormons work
favorite.
for Trump.
So actually, we're talking about cabinet positions, and I should say my brother who joined us watching, and thank you, Jake, for watching. He's like, dude, what about me for defense secretary? So I have to give a shout out to Army veteran Jake Mercer.
As long as he doesn't send my kids to war.
I think he's too important making money, in the business sector to move him from Wall Street to the Pentagon. But,
someone mentioned, I think it got really popular on Netflix, the Hillbilly LG book. Did you watch the movie? Did you watch the movie?
I didn't watch the movie.
I watched it. Oh, I watched it when I was pregnant last fall. I watched a lot of movies when I was pregnant last fall. I'm in bed a lot. But no, it's really well done. Amy Adams did a great job, and Glenn Close was amazing as Mama. So, but I would read the book first so that you're not like, you really get J.D. Vance's voice before you watch the Hollywood version. But yeah, it was well done.
Have you ever had a case where the movie was better than the book?
Yes.
Example.
So I think that this is probably going to make some of the ladies mad, but Anne of Green Gables, okay. Anne of Green Gables with Megan Fellows was leagues better than Ella Montgomery's book. And that's probably absolute heresy. But the original book, the descriptions were so long. Like how many descriptions of a field in Avonlea can you really sit through? Whereas the movie just showed them to you. But anyway, I think that's an example.
Also, America is now at 83% for Trump, almost 84.
Also, Hillsdale has to basically start paying us for how much we talk about them. But their Twitter has been so funny. I don't know if you guys saw like Georgetown University saying that they're going to have a post-election self-care day. And Hillsdale quote tweets, our post-election plan for students, classes. We are holding classes as usual. So they're so good.
Whoever's running Hillsdale's Twitter account right now should get a raise because they have been so funny. During Halloween.
Did you see the Peanut stuff?
Yeah.
Dude, they were all over Peanut.
Funny. And they were like, look out, check your kids' candy. And then they had like this candy wrapper and emerging from it was Karl Marx's manifesto, Communist Manifesto. They're like, watch out for the Communist Manifesto. Libs will put it in your kid's candy wrapper. It was very funny.
Yeah, they had this on Peanut. Said they also killed Fred the raccoon. Wow, didn't know that. You're telling me that for the first time.
So good.
They had in memory of Peanut, the accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands, whether of one, a few, or many, and whether hereditary, self-appointed, or elective, may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny. Federalist 47.
Yes.
It's an academic dunk on Twitter.
Yep. Hillsdale's known for the academic dunk. This is good.
Let's see.
All right.
Someone has an Anna Green Gables sweatshirt on for Trump.
What? That sounds.
Is Green Gables and Trump connected?
What? Anne of Green Gables for Trump?
Wait,
she's Canadian.
Someone said they had another heresy, Little House on the Prairie. Who's against Little House on the Prairie? That's a hood classic.
On the Prairie. You think the show is better than the book? Can I get clarity on this?
Wait, you think the book's better?
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
I just read it to my kids.
I honestly haven't read it in a long time. So
the show totally takes it and like turns it into an 80s
70s. But have you seen Pa's Blue Eyes? Come on now.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
so a little more analysis while you guys have a little fun.
Let's get back to work here.
Back to the analysis.
Back to work.
Well, things looking good. Nothing's final. But I just wanted to point out that in fully completed counties in Pennsylvania, Lackawanna, 5.1% swing towards Trump. Lyncoming County, no change. Clarion County, a 2-point swing towards Trump. Elk County, 2-point swing towards Trump. Wyoming County, a 2-point swing towards Trump. And Fulton County, a 2 percentage point swing towards Trump. So again, this is good news, good data, but
cautiously optimistic. Oop, the fruit flies have hit.
Now, do you see the photo I just sent you there in the chat there on the Slack there?
Slack, the babies.
Yeah, so that's I was telling you about my friend, the former Catholic Vote employee.
Yeah,
and she sends this picture that goes. She's not only watching the LOOPcast coverage, but her twins are. But Edmund doesn't like your face. That's why he's crying.
You made the baby cry, Josh.
Just imagine if you would have shaved your beard because the Vikings lost. It would have been even worse.
I mean, if you would have just taken me up on the bet, man, I tell you.
You would have scared both those kids instead of just one.
I know. Skull. We'll get you back next time.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Okay, do we have any?
And Lorianne Boebert is expected to sail to victory, and that she moved to a different district. That would be, she wouldn't have a tough race, so that's not a shock there. Okay, so here's an interesting thing with 48% of the vote reporting in Sauk County, Wisconsin, where I have family back several generations. Biden won that county by 1.7%. Total swing county in a big swing state. And Trump is now leading 52 to 45. So that's a pretty significant shift there. We'll see if it holds out.
All right.
I just told Brian 2.75. We'll see if that's good enough for him. Art of the deal. I love live negotiations with the president of the organization I work for.
Oh, man. Only on election
Brian's
night.
the best. Man, humble beginnings at Catholic Vote. I remember the 2020 election party we did in Notre Dame. There was only like 12, 15 employees, Josh?
If that.
Crazy.
I think 12 was right.
Like, I don't even know if we could get everyone in one place for an election party now. Oh, yeah, we already did the Joy Reid fascist day, Josh.
Oh, is you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joy Reid, doing Joy Reid things. You know how it goes.
She hates Trump so much, but then she dyes her hair like Trump, same color.
Josh, we have someone saying, very random question, noticing you all have wired earbuds. Is that a Kamala Harris? Like, are you getting fed stuff? Is it Tom McCluskey who's saying all the analysis? Question. Oh, wait. Breaking news. Josh, you ready?
Let's go.
Yeah,
no shock.
Yes.
We saved Iowa.
Iowa has gone for Donald Trump. That poll was garbage.
That poll was garbage. You know where the floating garbage is, Joe? That was
Iowa. Seltzer.
Seltzer poll. That's right. Let's go. MAGA.
Oh, gosh. Someone's asking what's in my red Solo cup. It's Diet Coke. Shout out Trump. Figured we got to get the party going. Bring out the Solos.
All right.
Josh, what is the most surprising political event that you've been a part of in your life? Trump 2016 doesn't count.
Oh, come on.
I mean, that I've been a part of, or I just witnessed as a person in history.
Sure, I'll give you options.
I mean, I think, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the fact that guy had him dead to rights. I mean, 150 yards. And if he hadn't just moved ever so slightly at the exact right moment and it grazed him, and it should have been a kill shot. If he hadn't moved, it would have been a kill shot. If he had moved too much, it would have been a kill shot. He had to move just the right amount. And I know Donald Trump is not the most religious person in the world, but that's got to give you pause.
I think he just became a little bit more religious.
I think so. I mean, he says it and the audience loves it. And I think he believes it too. That's crazy, especially when they show you the graphics. Like, it almost is more surreal when you see like the graphic of like here and then like head turns just like that.
That split second.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We have Mary saying she's on 3 devices right now. People really want to see Brian. Keep it up. We're almost there.
Brian. It's what the people want.
277.
Okay, so Greg Bluestein is a political reporter in Georgia. He knows the game there pretty well. And he's now saying there's about 1 million votes left in Georgia, and Kamala Harris would have to win the remaining outstanding votes by roughly 62% clip to overcome Donald Trump in Georgia.
There's no way.
I don't say no way.
Erika, remember,
don't you say that. I ain't gonna let you say that here.
Do you remember a certain graph of the votes, and then this happened, and then Jeb Bush could win?
That's true. Oh, I forgot about Jeb. You're right, Pogo. Thank you for recalling me to reality. All right. It's looking
Okay,
good.
Sean Trendy is somebody with Real Clear Politics, a master of the numbers and everything like that. And he was the guy who identified back, in 2012, talking about how the Republican Party should really consider shifting and focusing on white, non-college educated voters, blue collar voters. And I thought his essay on that was tremendous, and it caught the attention of everyone here at Catholic Vote, and it resonated with us, and it resonated with Donald Trump and a lot of other people. Sean Trendy is a brilliant mind, and he's not like a conservative. He's an analyst, and he calls it like he sees it. He's part of Real Clear Politics, and he got a whole lot of no BS analysis from those guys. And he says, if Trump wins, which looks increasingly likely with every minute, it's going to be with the most racially diverse Republican coalition in a very, very long time.
The big tent.
Still too early to make any pronouncements, of course.
Which for sure reveals the, I'm up if you need me.
Okay.
Tom McCluskey.
Like Trump is up 5 points. He's done 5 points better in Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania, which is Scranton.
Did you see this? Josh? The New York Times needle just moved Trump to win the popular vote as well as the electoral. Breaking news.
Who said that in July? Who said that this week?
Comes around. Everyone comes around, Mercer. The New York Times is now with you. Little late, guys. Mercer's called it in July. We got it.
By the way, Brian thought I was bonko nuts on
Who's
that.
accusing me of blasphemy? Oh, is that the Anne of Green Gables thing?
Hey, also, let's just quick shout out to the chat. Shout out to everyone here joining us live. Briefly, if you could do us a favor, go ahead and hit subscribe. Like this. It helps us out a ton. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. We love doing this with you guys.
Okay, so you'll remember the shock jock comedian at the Madison Square Garden who made a joke about the flying pile of garbage, which he was making the point that the island of Puerto Rico was having a major garbage problem, and a little joke at their expense, but people, this is going to reset the whole campaign and Trump is done and all this kind of stuff. Let's just look at the numbers, shall we?
Please do.
Amongst Puerto Rican voters in Florida, Donald Trump won 31% of their vote in 2020. And after this totally horrible joke that made so many people offended, his vote total went up amongst Puerto Rican voters in Florida to 43%. He did 12 points better.
Turns out Puerto Ricans have a better sense of humor than white leftist liberal ladies in the suburbs.
But the white liberals at MSNBC were ready to be offended on their behalf, let me tell you.
Oh, well, look at them. White savior syndrome.
Yeah, there's always rich white people ready to be offended on other people's behalfs. That's a
here's the picture of an 18-year-old voting. Let me get you. It's not mine. That's not that. Here we go. You ready for this? Sure. 18-year-old voting for the first time for his dad.
Oh, goat!
This is Barron.
So much.
I love Barron.
He's Caesar.
I know nothing about Barron, but
he's Caesar.
Oh, he's so
towering
tall.
Over the booth.
Yeah, right.
He's so tall.
18 feet tall.
Oh my gosh!
Too.
Look at that. Barron's the chosen one, and you can't convince me otherwise. Also, he is the thing.
But he's got to have like his arc where, like Anakin, he goes to the wrong side for a while. And
no, he doesn't.
Back.
No, he watched his dad almost get assassinated and put everything he has on the line, his own personal fortune for the country.
Yeah, I think he's radicalized.
He's radicalized. He's ready.
Yep.
And I have to say, if we do win because of historic male turnout, Barron gets credit for Trump on Theo Von, Trump on Joe Rogan, Trump on Andrew Schultz. He was advising him, apparently. Apparently, he was advising him as to which podcast to go on. And so thank you, Barron.
Good job.
The AP.
Oh, boy, we have a special guest in the chat.
One second. AP is saying that Trump is winning 23% of black men.
Wow. That's got to be most ever.
No, but most since Nixon.
Republicans?
I mean, it's been a long time.
Oh, Nixon's, yeah. All right. I'd like to
Nixon
introduce
got
a
30,
special
I
guest
think.
to the chat. It is not Tinfoil Tom. It is Optimistic Tom.
Hey,
Optimistic Tom. Great shirt.
I said to my wife, they're asking me to go on. Should I just leave the T-shirt on?
Absolutely.
Tom, what do you think about Brian big timing us and not wanting to come on the program?
He's an important man now.
It's true.
Do you know he got J.D. Vance elected to the U.S. Senate in Ohio?
It's true. I took pictures of him.
And now that I'm going to say it here, he's going to be the next vice president of the United States. And
Brian Birch?
well, maybe in 2028.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll run him.
Paulie Market is now at 90% for Trump.
Kamala dips under 10.
I know. Don't you just like New York Times is having to report things that one Georgia, one North Carolina, and I was just downstairs watching.
Did they call
NBC.
Georgia yet?
Well, NBC hasn't, but others have. Like the opinion desk, whoever has that one, or the campaign desk or whatever. And
wait, sorry, we glazed over this. Tom, are you wearing a "I'm Just a Bill" T-shirt?
So awesome.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Let's go, Schoolhouse Rock. Maybe we should play a little Schoolhouse Rock, get the people going.
All right. Yes.
What do we got?
Brown County shifting 3.5 points towards Trump. That's the county with the Green Bay. That's why I wore green, just to get
Okay, there you go.
Absolutely not why.
So Tom McCluskey, you've been off the program. You've been observing. You're saying that the news media has been fun to watch. What have you been seeing on the outside?
Well, just they're. And Josh always says this too, and the way I put it is, you always want to be the turtle, not the rabbit, in these circumstances. However, it's 2016 deja vu, including the bourbon. In that the news media is looking at the writing on the wall and refusing to see what it says. That there's not much path for Kamala Harris going forward, and the biggest path right now is if Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, breaking news: Bitcoin has reached an all-time high of 73,850.
Whoa! Wait a second.
Options are pricing an 8% move.
Let me check my Coinbase.
Wall Street. What does Wall Street think? But I never felt so good about this election today until what happened. When Jim Cramer said the market's suggesting Campbell is going to win, I'm like, oh,
it's over.
He is wrong on everything. So
he's literally made.
I was so excited to see that.
He's made a living being wrong. It's like being a weatherman.
I mean, I want to invest in everything that Nancy Pelosi invests and sell everything that Jim Cramer's buying.
Hey, Jim Cramer just had me invest in Blockbuster video. He's my retirement plan, man.
Oh, looks like we got someone in the chat saying first time.
So
watching,
how are you all feeling?
I've ever watched the Loopcast on YouTube. Only Pogo looks like I imagined.
Oh, what did you think I looked like?
Oh man,
well, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say the rest are.
That's pretty great. No, I want to ask McCluskey, how did you feel when you saw that Amendment 4 come across from Florida?
It was just beautiful, and it's what the pro-life movement needs. I'm now praying for Nebraska, praying for South Dakota, which to me would be an underdog win there. And I think there's lessons there for the pro-life movement that it's time to throw spaghetti against the wall. So Florida, we were helped very much by a wonderful governor, but also by the 60% margin. Nebraska were being helped because they had a pro-life amendment competing. South Dakota, I think we're going to have to study why we won there. So I don't think this is just a Trump revitalization. Hopefully it's also a pro-life movement one as well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Super excited. Needed some energy there.
Let me give you some breakdowns now of what the New York Times projections for different states are, okay?
Do you have a link that I could show, Josh?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, hold on.
Shoot that over. I'll put it up.
Do you have the log? You might have to get the login from me. Whatever.
I might be logged into the New York Times, but I can log in.
Okay, so again, Nebraska does their electoral vote separately. So Omaha is that blue city in that red state. That congressional district which voted for Biden and voted for Obama They're almost certain to vote for Harris. They're at an 88% chance of doing that. Maine is at 82%. New Mexico, some Republicans are hoping that maybe we could put that on the board. Right now, it does not look good, but we don't need it. 78%. Virginia, there's a lot of vote that's now in, so we're keeping it close, but it's still projected to be for Harris, 93% chance. Again, New Hampshire, some people have already called New Hampshire for Harris. That's not a shock. Minnesota, 70% chance for Harris. But now here's where we get to the states that you guys are more curious about, right?
Yep.
New York Times is saying that there's a 62% chance that Trump wins Wisconsin. 62% chance he wins Pennsylvania.
Wow.
59% chance in Nevada, 65% chance in Michigan, and they are saying there is a greater than 95% chance he wins Georgia.
It's looking good.
What are these?
6% chance of Arizona, by the way.
What are these percentages based on?
Again, it's as the votes come in, you look at different counties and precincts and how they voted in the last election, and is Trump overperforming or underperforming? How much of the vote is left in? And you start to make these comparisons. And again, it is looking very good for Donald Trump at this point. But again, it's going to be a slow trickle as these votes come in, because Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, they don't allow these absentee votes, early votes to count and to be tabulated until till today. So we're going to be waiting and waiting, I think, on a lot of these states. But
wait, Decision Desk just retracted the call for Virginia.
They retracted it.
What in the world?
It's the difference is like 2,000, I believe, right now with Trump ahead. Trump is not going to win Virginia, but the fact that he's so close, I think really shows. I mean, he has an excellent chance, I think, of getting the popular vote.
Someone just threw up a hot take. I mean, Josh, we talked about this earlier. Someone said Joe Biden would have done better. I mean,
I've been saying that for months.
Josh, I know you have, but I'm saying this potentially could exonerate that take.
Oh, I can't. I know Joe Biden can't wait if Trump wins to say Biden's the only guy. They'll be able to say Biden's the only guy who ever beat Trump.
Yep.
Jill has her memoir written. It's pre-written.
My God.
She's going to drop it in January as soon as they're out of the White House. It's going to be all about
at this point,
Dr. Jill.
Dr. Jill.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Jill.
So we're talking a 51% chance that the Republicans will keep the House.
Also, guys, we're at 2,900 people. We are 100 away from a Brian Birch appearance. Call your friends.
Let's go.
Go, Brian.
Get the people going. Find some votes.
Brian said he'd get on if a certain number of people.
Oh, yeah.
He said he'd come on if there's 3,000 people. It's big time.
We're letting him go on Fox News and everything too much. His head's just getting too big. He's just like.
I remember humble Brian Birch back when he would. We had a go-kart race when I first started at Catholic Vote, and he T-boned me because my cart was too slow and he couldn't stand being behind me. And that's the Brian Birch I remember and love.
That sounds on brand.
Okay, who won? Hey, that's the Brian Birch. He'll do anything to win.
He won.
Okay, so
I was T-boned. I was wrecked.
It's not final yet. Things are looking good in South Dakota. So far, 68.8% of voters are opposing Amendment G, the pro-abortion amendment.
Wow.
That opposition is running only about 3 points behind Trump. That is very good to hear.
Awesome.
And I'm just, my wife and I were just there in August, and beautiful state, a very
gorgeous state,
religious state. What is driving it? What is driving this win that other states just could not do?
Well, Mercer, you played the ad for us on the Loopcast last week.
Did you watch that? You should watch the last Loopcast we did. We talked about the ad. I think
I watch every Loopcast I'm not in.
Oh, thanks.
I'm like the guy in the stands hoping, like, just like tonight, that Tom will give me that call saying, we need you. We need you. Come on.
I'm on.
Tom, you're in the bullpen.
He does his hair every time, just in case we call him on.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I just thought their ad was very, very good. We're just, it respected voters where they were. Like, we would hope that, voters would just, of course, respect the humanity of unborn children. But that ad was just leveling with people and understanding, hey, I know you're not necessarily with us. They didn't say it that exact way. we know you're kind of in the middle on this, but if you vote for this amendment, it's enshrined in our Constitution, and we can't talk about any reasonable restrictions at all. It's done. So I thought it was a really good way to just level with people and say, hey, let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, that's good. On the other hand, we had Proposition 1 passed in New York State, so can expect the pro-lifers from New York to be migrating to Florida. No surprise there, but just codifying abortion rights into their state constitution and adding this discrimination language on like all these expanded conditions like ethnicity, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, pregnancy. So pray for the people of New York. Just
and full well. I hope people don't. And I'm from New York, so I hope people don't leave the state because the light shines brightest in the darkness, and that's what we need in New York.
We need martyrs.
Maybe, Josh.
I mean, if you're a good pro-lifer living in upstate New York, cross the river, go live in New Hampshire, and win that state over, and then get the reinforcements, and then invade New York or something like that.
Vermont's in the way. So you actually have to go to the
New York.
Vermont.
Hey, one at a time.
I came to Virginia, and look what's happening.
All right, hey, tone break from Tom.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished?
Love it.
I don't think so.
Talking like a champ.
Love that guy.
So don't get too pumped yet. Job's not finished.
Okay, job's not finished. Got it. It's only 10:30.
Okay, where are we at with the Washington Post? Let's see. I'll give a quick update here. Washington Post map. We have 195 Trump, 112 Harris. Senate 48, almost at our 50 mark here. 36 Dem, 133 House, 88 House. Any new states? It looks like Nebraska's been called.
Well, just the statewide, of course, because they have that.
Shout out Pete Ricketts. Doesn't Ricketts, he owns the Cubs?
He's a part owner.
Part owner of the
family,
Cubs?
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Looks like New York was called, of course. Friggin' blue wall over here. In Illinois. Good old Illinois. I think Colorado, that's new. That's been called. No surprise there. So that's where we're at.
That looks pretty sweet.
Tom, is DC as boarded up as social media shows?
It is. And apparently there's a large crowd gathered around the church. What is it? St. John's Church across from the White House.
Yeah.
It's described as a pro-Palestinian crowd, but normally I've gone to leftist rallies sometimes just for the kind of the same reason you drive slow by an accident. And
Tom, sorry for the quick interruption here. We got big news. Decision desk.
Boom! On the board, baby. Georgia going for Trump.
That's
love to see it.
That is great.
Wow. That's the first big win of the night, it feels like.
That is mass. Well, North Carolina is the first big win, but this is the first flip. This is awesome.
All right, Tom, sorry. Continue on the boarding.
Just normally when you have a leftist riot, you have people of all different stripes. You're going to have the pro-Palestinian crowd. You're going to have the pro-abortion crowd. You're going to have the just communist crowd, Antifa, everything else. It's a smorgasbord of leftist.
And professional protesters, I imagine they're getting paid to be there. Do these people have real jobs?
I don't think they have jobs, period. That's why they're there.
Are any of them Republicans?
Only if you watch MSNBC. But what I love is if it's anything like 2016, I don't love this because except they go after businesses like Starbucks and that bastion of righteous right-wing policy.
Okay, so let me send you this here quick. More exit poll data. That'll be of interest to our listeners and viewers. I sent you this image. Ryan Burge put it. He typed it up wrong, but the image that came from, I believe, the New York Times, which shows how people voted based on religious breakdown. And Catholics, 52% voted for Trump, 45% for Harris. That is a big game because basically Biden had a sliver. He basically won it by a sliver last time. And now a 7-point victory for Donald Trump. Boom! The Catholic vote, the decisive vote.
Yep.
Wow. Sorry, NCR.
I don't know what the Jewish numbers were for the last election, but like Trump's got 31% of the Jewish vote. That would seem to me to be an increase from the last time.
Yeah, I was just looking that
And
up.
30% of Muslims. That's got to be higher, both.
Wow.
Let me see what it was.
Oh, wow, Tom, we already got protests?
Out in the West Coast, apparently in Seattle.
Oh,
around the former
I swear none of these people
autonomous
have
zone.
jobs. None of these people. Does anyone
They're all on
in
welfare.
Seattle have a job? Oh my gosh, this is insane.
That's what they do for a living. They're paid to do this. This is not crazy. I mean, people are like, I can't believe they do this. Like, liberal,
I can't believe they do this.
Billionaire liberals pay money for these communist agitprop groups to cause mayhem. Gee, shock.
Mm-hmm.
Last week I was at a meeting with House leadership staff, and they started explaining when we were talking about protests, like, well, we just have to call for both sides to be calm. And I kind of went off on them. I'm here like, both sides?
Right.
Both sides?
Right.
This January 6th was an aberration. Violence is normal after these situations from the left.
Insane.
Both sides.
Oh man.
Yeah, there were some people on Twitter. They were like scolding today, and they were Catholics. They're good people, but they're saying things like, if Trump wins, don't forget to criticize him when he's like not pro-life enough, and if Trump wins, don't forget, make sure that you hold him accountable. And I'm like, that's kind of like when a woman gives birth to a baby and she's like gone through labor, and your first thing you say to her is, we should really talk about you getting fit again. Let's make a fitness plan. It's like, can I just enjoy the fact that I got through labor and I have this beautiful baby now before we start talking about the work ahead? Like, yes, we're going to hold him accountable. Yes, all that. Like, but don't be such a Karen. I don't know.
Do we have to have a side conversation with your husband, Erika?
That was good.
Getting Todd in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, Tinfoil Tom, DC resident, technically, or are you technically Virginia?
I'm Virginia. I hope it's okay if I don't give my exact address out.
Oh, did you see
doxing
did you see JD Vance's bit about how to spot a lobbyist?
I did not.
Yeah, that was funny.
I think it's like ill-fitting pants and a bad tie was specifically what. Thoughts?
Bad tie. I'd have to.
But hey, Tom is a lobbyist. He's out in Capitol Hill often. So if you guys have specific questions from an insider, Tom McCluskey is our insider. He's the guy behind the curtain. So if you guys have specific questions for Tom,
the first time I met JD, he was running for the Senate, and he came to DC, and a mutual friend hooked us up to talk. And if I remember correctly, I mean, he was wearing a tie that, like, I mean, I think you could have bought off the street. And this guy makes a lot more money than I do. So next time we see him, I'll have to bring up the tie thing.
We're on tie roasting right now.
A little shade his way.
Yeah, love that. Oh yeah, I'm seeing Colorado abortion amendment passed.
Again, not really a shock.
Yeah,
sadly, Colorado legalized abortion before Roe v. Wade.
Yeah,
one of the 4 states, including New Mexico, Washington, and California, that did that before.
And they did it under the guise of environmental protection.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the map. How are we doing? Still pretty solid.
Tim Carney just tweeted. He goes, Alito and Thomas start making their retirement plans. Not yet, guys. Not yet. I was thinking that if Harris wins the presidency, Thomas is going to be like,
I don't know if I mean, I guess that's the assumption, right? But like, if you only have like 52 Republicans in the Senate, I don't want those guys to retire just yet.
Are there already major figures ready to go to the Supreme Court? Like, are there any names that stick out right now?
We have plenty of guys to replace him. The question is whether or not you have enough strong Republicans in the Senate that have the votes to replace him. And if you don't, then it's too risky.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see. If we get up to 55 senators, then we can talk, because then you don't have to worry about the pro-abortion senators from Maine and Alaska.
I make a prediction right now. If there is a Supreme Court opening, James Ho will be one of the top names. He's currently a judge down in the Texas circuit. He used to work for John Cornyn, but I'm not a huge fan of John Cornyn, but James Ho was always a good guy, and he's had some great decisions lately.
Dang it. New York 22 gone. John Manning defeating her. Claude Tenney.
Oh, she's my favorite New York congresswoman.
Just made that call.
We've just passed the 3,000 threshold. I'm going to take a picture for Brian.
Yes.
It's time. Start the
We
bulletin
love you,
music.
chat. You rock. We're getting him on.
It's an awesome. Oh, I love this meme, dude.
Proof. Let's send it to Brian, see what he says.
As long as you get McCluskey off.
McCluskey, we had you in the bullpen. You did your job.
Yeah, you're the warm up for the closer, right?
Yeah, middle reliever.
Middle reliever, whatever.
Yeah,
I have to admit,
turn into a pumpkin.
For the beginning of the night, my wife and I were watching Black Sheep. David Spade,
yeah,
Chris Farley.
The election in Washington, right?
Yep.
So, okay, we got a question in the chat. How are we feeling about... Oh, we got some updates as well on the Washington map. How are we feeling about Senate? Josh?
Well, I mean, Marino's at 51% in Ohio. And actually, Marcy Kaptur, the congresswoman out of Toledo, is down right now with 80% of the votes in. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
So... Sorry, I just said
probably
Brian.
Toledo that's out yet though. So,
but both Ted Cruz and Deb Fischer won. So I think all the
did they call Deb Fischer?
I think it's. I think she's far enough ahead that it's
not called yet. But it's, yeah.
I'm here. Claudia Tenney. I'm hearing she hasn't lost yet.
Decision desk called it for her opponent, so we'll see. Someone said they. The rumor that they retracted their call in Virginia is not true. They did not retract it. They're saying Harris did win Virginia. So we'll see.
Although I'm seeing that Virginia is potentially in recount territory right now.
It might be I mean, but the thing is, I think the vote that's left out is probably very blue precincts.
It was very low turnout this morning. When my wife and I went to
so much mail and absentee, I think, in
yeah.
Nova. So I think that's what that is.
Ooh, I'm seeing Trump plus 36 among Hispanics in Michigan since the 2020 election. Wow. That is crazy.
That's a crazy turnaround.
What? Nice. Hidalgo County, Texas was within 0.4 percentage points. I mean, as tight as you can get. This county in Texas, right? Hispanic county. That's what it is right now. It's razor thin right now. And Biden won it by 17 points.
So again, your Biden take continues to get sweeter as the night goes on.
Yep.
Man, it's getting close in the Ohio Senate race to making a call.
All right. Erika, I got to hop out for a second. You take over.
No, you got it. That's me. I'll ask the guys. Actually,
the New York Times needles at 86% chance of Trump winning.
Let's go, New York Times.
Can we just absorb what Erika just said?
Yeah, right. It's like the one time I said tonight Mercer's way of thinking. Popular vote goes to Trump. Everyone comes around eventually. Everyone comes to Mercer.
75% of the vote in Virginia, right?
Yep.
That we're seeing, and it's like
77%, and it is razor
49.9 to 48.3.
Yeah, we're talking a 32,000 vote margin. It's crazy. McCluskey, we did want to ask you cabinet picks, not to get ahead of ourselves, and we're not getting ahead of ourselves, Josh. But the chat was wondering.
Wait, get ahead of ourselves. I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
Cabinet
He
pick.
blasphemed. That's the second time tonight I have been accused of blasphemy. First it was Anne of Green Gables, and now it's New York Times. Hey, broken clock, people. All right.
Oh, I mean, Kamala Harris is getting 11% of the vote in Dearborn, Michigan, which has got a massive Arab vote.
Yeah.
This one precinct in Dearborn had 81 votes for Harris, 293 votes for Jill Stein, and 332 votes for Donald Trump.
I love you, Jill Stein.
That's crazy. 11% of the vote for Harris.
Apparently, after 10:30, the real Erika comes out.
Oh, I know. Yeah, this
Loves
is
Jill Stein.
I
Loves
start
the
to
New York
say,
Times.
New York Times, Jill Stein, the real me. That's right. No,
So, in terms of the popular vote, though, the reason I say this is because the changes he's not going to win. Trump's not going to win New York. I get it. But the Jewish vote in New York, Catholics moving towards him more, Arab Americans voting towards him more. Trump has crossed the 40% mark in New York because of big swings in New York City, according to Ryan Gerdesky. And Trump's internal polls had Trump leading by 11 points in Ohio. He's right now at up 13. And they had Bernie Moreno, the Republican Senate candidate, up 6 in their Trump's internal polls, and he's leading by 6 in the actual vote counts right now. Those internals were accurate.
All right, I just spoke to the chief.
What says chief?
Chief said he's in loud room and can find quiet room to speak to the people. I'm sure he's at a party.
Whoa!
Wait, what could have gotten Josh to react like that?
Okay, let's see. What state are we talking?
Wait, send me the graphic. Is it decision desk?
No, it's not. It's not final, but it's just I'm loving what I'm seeing. The Senate race in Michigan, the Republican candidate Mike Rogers just took the lead over Elise Slotkin. Very early yet, only 24% of the votes in, but I'll take it. Like, let's go.
Let me see. I had a graphic on that.
I got it. Yeah.
Too big to rig. All right. Late night Loopcast shenanigans for sure.
I know. Oh, man.
For sure. What's up to everyone in the chat? Hey,
so where's Brian that it's so loud? Are we allowed to say?
I don't know. I honestly do. I do not know where Brian is right now.
We can't
probably somewhere important.
Give the location.
We're not going to dox Brian.
Well, I don't want to say give the street address, and if you want to give him a call, his number is 888.
Do you have his social too?
I do.
Oh man, yeah. He said he's trying to find a quiet room. He's gonna give a speech to the people. So, where are we at right now?
Tight as a tick in the Pennsylvania Senate race. With 57% of the vote in, McCormick is leading by slim 50.6 to 49.4, but I don't know enough about what votes out to feel comfortable enough.
All right. Let's take a look at where we're at right now. Score. 210 Trump, 113 Harris. 48-37 on the Senate.
Getting there.
142-94 Dem. And do we have any more states that have gone? I think we're about the same.
David Schweikert out of Arizona, running for Congress, is running a little bit behind. So hopefully he turns that around.
Ooh, the numbers out of Dearborn.
It's crazy, dude.
Oh man.
While you were gone, I went through those. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Dearborn strikes back. Dearborn, Michigan, for those unaware, very heavy Muslim population.
Well, the whole thing about these 3 elections, 2016, 2020, and 2024, it's like, you start in 2016 with, I would consider Trump like a new hope. And then, the regime was upset. So the empire strikes back in 2020. And then now we have the return of the Jedi.
Little Star Wars analogy there.
What, again, don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. What will be the narrative if Trump pulls this off in terms of future of politics in the GOP? Because to me, this is
if Donald Trump wins, which again, we're not trying to get ahead of ourselves here, but if he wins, you have to say this is the biggest political comeback in American history. Richard Nixon is number 2. Richard Nixon, successful congressman, elected vice president for 2 terms, runs for president, loses by a squeaker, basically election fraud in 1960. That's the truth. Then he, goes to California. Richard Nixon runs for governor, and everyone's like, you're just doing this to kind of run for president later. We know that. He loses, totally embarrassed, gives a press conference. You don't have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore. He's done. Then in 64, he lets Goldwater run, whatever. He's a good, loyal soldier, goes campaigns for Republican candidates in 64 and in 66. And by the time 68 rolls around, he's like, you know what? I think maybe I'll run again. And gets elected president of the United States. Massive, massive comeback. The greatest comeback in political history, Richard Nixon. I'd have to say that in the United States. But if Donald Trump, who from day one, the Washington Post, when he was first elected and first sworn in office, the Washington Post was dedicated to impeachment from the first day he took the oath of office. And they try to hamstring him and stop him at every step of the way. And they have basically a once-in-a-century pandemic and he still almost gets reelected with all of that going against him.
People don't appreciate how close that was.
And then Joe Biden's number 3 guy at the DOJ leaves to go to work at the Manhattan District Attorney's office.
Oh, yeah.
Biden tries to put his leading opponent in jail. Trumped up charges in Georgia, New York, Florida, everywhere. An assassination attempt by God's miracle, that bullet doesn't kill him. And then a second assassination attempt. Everything about the media, the media can't even hide it anymore. Just going radioactively, nuclear, emotionally ridiculous against this guy. And if he pulls this off tonight, if he wins, greatest political comeback in American history. And it's not being stuck in the moment and thinking this is the biggest thing ever. You see these things like who's the best, basketball player, and they only can think of the people who have been playing the last 10, 15 years. Like, dude, have you ever heard of some of these other guys? Don't you? Right. Have you ever seen any basketball in the 50s, 60s, or 70s? Like Will Chamberlain, he's a good guy. I'm not saying this, but I know my history. Richard Nixon's comeback was amazing. Andrew Jackson, comeback, amazing. This is incredible. This happens.
Pretty much after he was almost assassinated the first time and got up and said fight, instantly my mind went to, is he the most iconic American of all time? Up there with potentially founding fathers. If you want to talk about the American dream, though, is there anyone that has lived the American dream more than Donald?
Yes!
Yes! Josh agrees with you.
Josh says yes.
All right, Josh.
I mean, real time, people, but Sherrod Brown is gone.
Bam.
Bernie Moreno declared the winner by the decision desk, Republican seat. That's a flip. And that means the Senate is going Republican, baby.
Oh, my gosh. Chuck Schumer, sit down.
Love
sit
it.
Down, Chuck.
He's going to have more time to barbecue frozen meat with
Frozen
cheese
meat
on
with
it.
cheese on it, like a good Jew.
Some
Love
people
it.
are saying that we need to tune into MSNBC. The tears are starting to flow.
Yeah, get
That-
that. I should put that here on my other
This
TV.
is the bourbon. This is my bourbon moment, guys. This is it.
Here's-
Bye, truck streamer.
You put that right up to the microphone.
Yeah, that sounded like quite a
part
pour.
of the charm. It's part
That
of the
was
charm,
awesome.
Poco.
Part of the charm.
I wanted everyone
Erika's-
to hear the bourbon flow.
You're gonna have to start a new ASMR
No.
channel, essentially.
No.
For
I know it bothers you, so I do it.
it doesn't even bother me. I just think it's so funny. Yeah, here's our boy.
Love
Bernardino.
it. Love to see that.
So
That's great.
what? There was something else I was gonna add.
Oh, this is really good.
Oh yeah, MSNBC, the tears. We need to go find the tears.
Go find the tears.
Gosh, Sherrod Brown is such a communist. So good. He's flipped that seat.
It's your favorite C word, Josh.
It's like the whole I love the workers. You know, I mean, he's total Marxist.
Stop whatever you're doing. Turn on MSNBC. Whoa. Okay, wait a second. The closer
You
has
find
come.
it?
We reached 3,000 followers or 3,000 viewers, and he's here. Brian Birch.
Oh,
Brian Birch.
Hey,
nice
hey.
hat.
They just called Ohio Senate for Bernie Moreno.
Yes.
Oh yeah, let's get a zoom in on the hat.
Good
here.
Bernie.
Did he freeze though? Okay,
froze
I
on
thought he
that.
froze for a second there.
He's there.
Brian. Okay, first off, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Fearless Leader Catholic Vote. Brian Birch. What's going on?
Hey, everybody. Wow. What a night so far, huh? Don't want to get too excited, but it's looking real good. I haven't been following you guys. I'm here in Chicago with the creative minority. Let's just put it that way. But lot of excitement here in Chicago. I don't know. You don't want to get too excited yet, but it's looking really good. In some ways, you all know, super humbling, but Trump's running away with the Catholics.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more on that. And you said that the exit polling
52-45 right now.
It
That's what they're
matched
saying.
our internal polling. So was that surprising to you, Brian?
So this is interesting. I mean, we haven't wanted to brag about this too much because we've been tracking the Catholics internally. A week ago, we had Trump up 16 with Catholics in Pennsylvania, 14 in Michigan, similarly in Wisconsin. But the interesting thing was we had the overall race still tied in those states. So there was something weird going on. And we were trying to figure this out, that how could you possibly win Catholics by double digits and still pull it off and still possibly have a neck and neck race at the top? So if history is a guide and he is able to run away with the Catholics like he is, I see the path to victory right there for all of these states. I think he has a chance to run the table in the blue wall.
Wow, you think so?
Oh yes.
Well, again, if the Catholics are predictive, and I will say one of the challenges we've had is, was there a possibility that Trump could win the Catholics, even romp with the Catholics, and still lose the race, which would tell you something very interesting, which we didn't want to admit, that somehow the Catholics were significant, or he could win the Catholics in a significant way and yet still lose the race, which would be a sign of the role of the secular vote, the nuns, NONES becoming such a bigger part of the electorate. But it looks like we're tracking right now that Trump is going to run away with the Catholics, and it will hold that the Catholics are, once again, the decisive vote. Thankfully, we have an organization called Catholic Vote.
Just a real quick rundown here.
Wait, Mercer's got a rundown.
New York Times was given 67% chance to win Wisconsin for Trump, 67% for Pennsylvania, 66% for Michigan, 62% for Nevada, 78% for your native state of Arizona, Brian. And then also,
I'm sure you guys got this. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. Now, I remember I made a prediction back in July on the Loopcast, Brian. I said Trump. I think he's going to win the popular vote, and you thought I was basically wanted to have a drug test for all our employees. You thought maybe I was on the crack pipe or something like that. But I tell you, New York Times now is projecting
it could be true
that Trump. It could be true. Trump is right now a favorite to win the popular vote by 1 point.
So this is the problem. My phone will not stop. I have probably 2 texts a second coming in. People down in Mar-a-Lago texting us saying, "Attaboy, Catholic vote. You guys did it. You guys are the best." We got I got texts coming in from on the ground in all of these states. Hang on, here's some latest stuff. Digging in, plus 15 Catholic margin is massive, but the 10 key states include non-battleground states of Florida, Ohio, and Texas. So keep in mind, when you get this generic Catholic vote number across the country, yeah, we can celebrate it a little bit, but it's going to incorporate some of these other states. And this is, I think the number's going to come in a little tighter than what it's looking like now. It still looks very, very likely that he's going to win the Catholic vote pretty decisively. We'll see where it's going to finally fall, but
we were just quoting the
Catholic
exit
voters
polls.
out
We'll
there.
see.
Well, Brian, I wanted to,
We just picked up the one district in Maine, which is not too big of a shock, but Trump did win that one district in Maine, so that gives us an extra electoral.
Okay,
vote.
but I did want to ask you, Brian. I don't know how much is public or not public, but we've been pretty involved in terms of reaching out from a Catholic perspective to campaigns, and I feel like Trump has pretty explicitly on his social media either posted the St. Michael prayer. You get the Jesus is Lord moment with J.D. Vance. It almost was kind of nice to feel like we were being pandered to for the first time, maybe ever. How much of that
like
do
the
you
Republican
think?
candidate actually wanted Catholics to vote for him? What a crazy concept!
No, I mean, here's the thing. You could say it's a pandering to, but everyone recognizes the Catholics are critical in these states. We're 25-30% of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. It's pandered to, but this is I think one of the most interesting things about what Trump and Vance did. They leaned into the Catholic vote, repeatedly brought us up in rallies, repeatedly posted on Twitter. Trump talked about the Catholics. I mean, time and time again. He talked about our endorsement back in January. Heck, let's not remember. He was, but the real story here is Kamala Harris did not make any effort whatsoever to appeal to the Catholics. She thought, and I said this on Fox, you guys all know, she thought she could create this new electoral majority without people of faith. It's not just about us, but she thought the country has changed. We are not a religious country anymore. Catholics, Christians, people of faith, they are now the minority, and their ideas, their people, they don't belong at my rallies. I don't need to go to their dinner. I can snub them. They are nothing. They are fly spit for America. And what a gamble. I mean, come on, at least be Joe Biden and pay us lip service and pretend like you care. At least call yourself devout and then get into office and backstab us. Like, that's what they used to do, right?
Right. They're not even playing the game anymore.
She didn't even try. She didn't even try. It was an utter joke from the beginning.
Well, she didn't go to the Al
What
Smith
an
dinner.
absolute disaster of a campaign she has run. I mean, here's the story of the night as well. I know we're going to talk about this. Josh Shapiro should have been her Veep.
Oh, no question.
100%.
We wouldn't even be talking about Pennsylvania. What an absolute catastrophic decision on her part to pick this buffoon from Minnesota. I mean, come on.
Hey.
I still can't believe she made that decision. I know.
He wasn't born there. That's all I'll say.
Josh is our buffoon from Minnesota.
Yeah.
No, it's so.
But right now, you look,
here's the
67% of the vote in Pennsylvania, and Trump's got a 2.5 point lead, 2.5 percentage point lead. That's why Josh Shapiro is laughing right now.
Yep. 2028.
Well, and I haven't seen the numbers on McCormick. If you guys are seeing it, I'm hearing from my Pennsylvania people, it looks like Bob Casey is done. The Casey era is
that would be
over in
fantastic.
Pennsylvania. Now, we haven't seen it yet. I don't want to get too excited, but if Trump's up where he's at, keep in mind Bob Casey's numbers at the end are his ads, his closing argument in Pennsylvania included ads where he's embracing Donald Trump. It tells you all you need to know.
Yeah,
It'll be very interesting to watch some of the analysis that comes in of what exactly happened on the ground there. And we obviously have some sense of things, but I know there's going to be a big celebration among Catholics if this ends up going the way we think it will be, among pro-life people, the religious liberty people. But there's a bigger thing here, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to start. I'll go LOOPcast first time here. The consistent ethic of life argument that's being made by the left has now been redefined. It's the consistent ethic of life now includes the life issue, the religious liberty issue.
Yes.
It includes kitchen table issues like MAHA, including getting our food fixed, our chronic disease fixed. It includes the border. It includes
not being
inflation,
bad
includes the
Samaritans at the
economy,
border,
includes trade. includes the Catholic principle of solidarity, all that wrapped in this left-wing consistent ethic of life thing, which is some mashup of gay rights and the environment and kind of, I don't know, some sort of social safety net that Trump took off the table by saying he's not going to touch entitlements. It's a big, massive shift in the church when it comes to how we understand what it means to be the Catholic vote. And this is something you all know because Trump has been difficult on the abortion issue. How do we shift this debate inside of our church to define what it means to actually be about the dignity of the human person? Now, we got to move Trump. We got to move Trump on abortion. I'm not saying that he's going to be our biggest advocate. But I will say the way we played this race, we did not come out and say, as some did, that Trump doesn't deserve Catholics. What we said is, Trump, you're wrong on IVF. You're wrong on A4. We're going to push back on you. But guess what? We're going to work for you. We're going to have a seat at your table, and we are going to work to influence this administration. And yes, we're going to gum up the works on IVF, and we are going to do everything we can to have influence in this administration so that we can move public policy in the direction I think it needs to move. And it's a bigger debate, by the way, and that'll get me going on this, than the debates we've had in the past, that somehow we gain power, we're going to get rid of abortion with one fell swoop with some sort of legislative or judicial fiat. No. We need to start thinking bigger about what it means to build a culture of life and what the federal government's role is going to be with respect to that. That starts with RFK. It starts with a lot of things that Trump's doing about prioritizing families, about making America first, fixing the border, fixing the economy, encouraging people to have kids again. I know I'm going off of my soapbox here, but sorry. I think the whole
I'm looking at the returns.
Mercer is like, he's bursting. Mercy, what do you see?
Okay, so the south end of Dearborn, Michigan, 90% Muslim area. Biden won 88% of the vote 4 years ago. Kamala Harris is not going to win that area.
Hey, even Frank Luntz is freaking out. He can't believe the numbers coming in on Muslims.
Yeah.
Which exactly, Josh, you
those
called
billboards,
this
those Cheney billboards, baby.
You called this months ago. The Muslim vote, I know it's not huge, but even to move the kinds of numbers Trump's having, that in and of itself could be a difference maker in Michigan.
Right.
Oh, that could be everything.
New York Times, that 88% chance of Trump winning, projected to win 300 electoral votes, win the popular vote by 1.1%.
I will tell you, some of the people in the party here, they're saying, well, wait, don't get too excited.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have some vans full of ballots. We've done this before. We saw this story before. Somehow, wait. We need to, well, so let's not get too excited. We don't know exactly.
Brian, you missed it. I played the Kobe Bryant clip of him saying job's not finished and being sad. You love Kobe Bryant.
You know, here's the thing. I gave, I don't know how many speeches, talks, appear in front of groups over the last year. The number one question I get asked every time is, what does it matter? They're just going to cheat. We all know they're not going to win. Mm-hmm. If in fact this goes the way it's going to go, huge kudos to both the RNC and to all the groups that worked on election integrity. Yes. I was talking this morning, I won't disclose too much, but with pretty high level people in the Trump campaign, they said they had tens of thousands of people embedded in the places where they thought the cheat was going to occur. They were firing lawsuits off. This is a big win for election integrity.
And they had the lawyers.
Huge issue. We saw as this early vote started to fail, something was wrong with the Dem machine. Something broke. Now, there was no Zuckerberg. There was no pandemic. There was no massive mail-in ballots in the way that we saw before. But, you know, here's the other thing. I mean, this is pure speculation. I think they thought they were going to take out Trump earlier in the cycle, whether it's going to be lawfare, they're going to get him in jail. Who knows? Maybe they thought they would take him out by other means. Let's not speculate. But I don't think they planned to win this thing in the way. You can't produce a cheat in the final couple weeks when you realize, oh no, he's surging and we're going to have to fix this at the end. The cheat was not going to work. And
there's only so much a cheat can do. I mean, you can steal some votes here and there, but you can't do 200,000 ballots in every state, all 7 states.
Too big to rig, right? Too big.
Fox News finally calls the Ohio Senate, which for Bernie Moreno, like Decision Desk did about 20 minutes.
The good Bernie, not the
You
bad.
guys-
And it
you
looks
guys
like
wanna-
Tennessee's
Yeah, so
going
that-
to win too. There are
Did
some
you guys-
names we
as
can't
you all
name.
know-
Laura Trump at the RNC has really changed things. She's the one who changed to get election lawyers in there. And
Yes.
Cleta Mitchell
Well, so
from the outside has been
Cleta
a consistent
Mitchell,
voice.
hero.
I mean, remember what? So Laura Trump got criticized a lot because she said, you know what? We don't need to spend a lot of money on persuasion. By the time the election comes, people are going to have made up their minds. This is the Trump phenomenon is so interesting. We don't have to persuade people. She said, no, we're going to put a disproportionate amount of resources into making sure this election is fair and that the cheat is minimized. She deserves huge credit if, in fact, this goes the way it's going to go.
Did you see her on The Breakfast Club too?
Me?
Laura Trump?
Did I see her on Breakfast Club? No, I did
Yeah.
not.
She was phenomenal.
I don't have time to watch those shows.
That's for us. Yeah. you have time to come on the Loopcast when we get to 3,000 listeners. I have a quick update look into Kamala HQ if you guys want to look.
Let's see it.
Let me just give you a gut check here about what we are hearing here as we've been sitting here reporting from the Harris headquarters. And I think the operative word right now is silence. There's not a lot being said because the Harris team appears to be searching for bright spots in the map as these results very, very slowly come in.
Searching for bright spots and also very aware of the warning signs throughout the electorate.
Well, she's got Oregon that went for Kamala Harris.
Got California
She's
too.
got Oregon. There you go.
She got California.
Oh boy.
Brian,
Oh.
is that where you are?
Apparently,
Are you at Kamala
CBS
HQ?
News is saying that Russia wants Donald Trump to win. Gosh,
Oh boy, we're gonna get that again.
haven't I seen that movie before?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow, what a surreal night. This whole election just kind of feels surreal in retrospect. It just, you know what? Such a validation that there is a lot of good people left in this country. Don't give up on us yet, everybody.
Why did you feel really like downtrodden, Brian? Like, did you feel like a true? I know you can't really reveal your full emotions. You got to put on a strong front. But why do you feel so inspired right now?
I mean, come on, who didn't think this was kind of a real pivotal moment for the country? Are we done? Are we going to embrace, trans mutilation surgeries on kids, woke DEI craziness, end of
Censorship
Title
of the
IX,
internet and everything.
the
Free
weaponization
speech?
of the government against political enemies, lawfare. I mean, people like Elon Musk and David Sachs and all these people that, traditional Dems, not exactly people that we agree with on everything, they've woken up. They're just the indicators of kind of what's happening, I think, at a grassroots level. That people realize the Democratic Party has gone nuts. I mean, there's no other explanation. Like, even Kamala Harris as a candidate, and we saw the kind of campaign she ran. She wasn't interested in building kind of a center left coalition. She went to the hard right. She was a candidate from the hard right. She's a San Francisco liberal.
Hard left.
You saying hard left?
Hard left. Yeah, hard left. From the hard left. She is not. The country was not ready to embrace this kind of direction of the country. Now, I'm not pretending that somehow, everyone's become conservative now, and now, all the things that we share. But, we have this revert to the mean a little bit in elections. And we had been told all along that Donald Trump was the crazy, extremist, far-right, fascist Hitler candidate. And it turns out people kind of saw through that. Like, no, yeah, he's not perfect. There's a lot of people that don't like the guy. But this is...
You mean the Hitler that gave up power peacefully 4 years ago?
Yeah, right.
I mean, give me a break. It's
No, this is interesting. All right, let me go back.
So
check
Wisconsin
about
now
next here.
favored for Trump at 70% now.
Wow.
Wow.
And Arizona is getting close to 80% likelihood.
This is like reminding me of 2016. which of the blue wall states are going to get to declare first that they were the ones that did it for Trump? There's a debate, as you know. Was it Pennsylvania?
It was Pennsylvania.
Wisconsin?
It was
Wisconsin will argue a little bit. They think they were the ones. They got called first. But
yeah, that's because the AP sat on PA for an extra hour, but the decision desk gave it to Wisconsin first. I mean, to Pennsylvania first. So,
yeah, gosh, what a testament to the power of the truth ultimately winning. You can't keep it down. People
so
are
Trump
not.
is up by 15 points right now in Iowa. So that Seltzer poll looking like it was a little off.
Well, here's the other thing. I don't know if you guys talked about this. One of the big winners tonight, Ron DeSantis.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's so funny because I have
this.
so many people, and Josh,
leadership
you talked about this. That DeSantis should have been the nominee. No. DeSantis is exactly where he should be.
I love
running
the guy.
One of the best states in the country. He is a phenomenal governor, but he's not a presidential candidate. And
he's got
look
the
what he did.
charisma of wallpaper.
Okay, wait a second.
Okay.
All right.
I love the guy, but
jeez, Josh.
Let's just give him a W tonight, Josh.
Come on, man.
Josh,
the Catholic vote people should know. We put $1 million into Amendment 4. $1 million, which that's a big number for us. We don't put $1 million into much of anything. We usually spread it around. $1 million into A4, the first pro-life victory since Dobbs when the voters are for voters. That's a huge, huge victory. Now I know 60% threshold. They spent $75 million. Our side spent 10.
Yeah.
10.
David
7-1. I bet you the number is even bigger than that. What a testament. And I actually had a phone call with DeSantis about a week and a half ago. We talked about it. He talked about what he was doing. He said, and he convinced me, we can win this thing. That's one of the reasons we did put the money in there. He talked about the numbers. He said the no vote was surging. The yes vote was coming down. 3 months ago, they were at 63, 64%. I don't know what the final number is then. I haven't seen that, but this is a really big victory for him.
And again, it points to leadership. You and I and Catholic Vote team worked so hard in Ohio, but we didn't see that leadership at the top. Mike DeWine wasn't leading, and therefore it went down. You get this a lot of times. Republicans are like, well, the pro-life thing, that's for you guys to fight. The pro-life groups. You don't see the leadership from elected officials. Like, we elect you and we expect you to lead. That's what Ron DeSantis did.
Yeah,
Ron DeSantis was a leader, and he took the thing on. He got every single Republican in statewide office in Florida and every congressman except for one to go on and say this amendment is too radical, it's gone too far. And Ron DeSantis campaigned aggressively against this horrible pro-abortion amendment. He deserves every accolade.
Can I ask, Brian? I'm sure that in places where there are abortion amendments, you're probably on the phones trying to get a hold of leadership. What is the usual reception? Was that unusual to have someone basically call you and be like, hey, we can win this? Are people usually more timid on the abortion front than Ron DeSantis was in this case?
No, I don't think I'm disclosing too much here, but the big pro-life money was very reluctant to go big on these ballot initiatives coming out of Ohio. There was a lot of money that stayed on the sidelines, and a lot of people that were worried it was money after bad. They had this momentum. We needed to kind of fall back to some sort of safe perch and play for another day. It turned out that as things began to mature, and huge kudos to people on the ground that despite all of that potential bad news, stayed in the fight, and kept us at least competitive to where a lot of the big groups and the bigger money said, okay, you know what? We can win these things. Let's get into them. I haven't seen the Nebraska numbers. That's another state that we did put some big money into. I don't know if anyone's seen that yet.
I know South Dakota's looking really good right now.
Yeah.
But can I ask then, why did Ohio fail so spectacularly, and then why did Florida succeed?
Well, a couple things. Presidential cycle, number one. Trump coattails. Turns out Republican voters in numbers that didn't appear in the midterm. I think second thing is when voters actually are given a choice, where the left has framed all of these abortion initiatives as a straight up or down question of all abortion or no abortion, which of course is an utter lie. None of these states have, very few have true abortion bans. Florida is a 6-week ban plus an additional 6 weeks for under certain circumstances. Obviously, as Catholics, we don't want any abortions. However, the public is somewhere between 6 or 15 or viability in most of these places. And if they're given that choice, that's what the public wants. In most cases, though, the left has framed all of these as it's a ban on abortion. And so if you think a woman should have that option under some circumstances, and they frame these, lies around, miscarriage and such. But so I think the 60% threshold made a huge difference in Florida. And I think also we and DeSantis and a lot of the groups on the ground, and I just was texting with the Catholic conference people down there, they ran a good campaign as helping Catholics to understand, look, this is not a ban question. There are some reasonable restrictions that can save a lot of children and help a lot of women here. And once people realized that's actually what we're voting for, they were able to win. And unfortunately, that didn't happen in Ohio. The other side was able to get the high ground. And, Ohio was more complicated because remember, there was 2 votes there. One, to raise the threshold to 60%, which people didn't like because it looked like Republicans were trying to change the rules of the game. And so there was a big backlash against that once we finally got to the general election and voted on abortion. But in any case, Catholic vote spent big money in Florida, big money in Nebraska, and not as big of money in South Dakota. Those are the 3 ballot initiatives that we thought we had a chance of winning where we could make a difference. We won in Florida. I want to see what's happening in Nebraska. And you're saying, Josh, you're seeing good numbers in South Dakota?
Yeah, right now, the Amendment G, the no vote on Amendment G, which is what we want it to be, is just about 3 points behind Trump. So it's about 64% or so. So that's looking good.
All right. So I'm seeing
Nebraska, both
saying Nebraska.
So Nebraska, it's the so-called right to abortion, and then also protecting life after viability. And both of them are above 50% with the right to abortion so-called leading. So in that case, if both get over 50%, it's whichever one gets the most votes. But I don't know what's left out for voting. So there's still a lot out of votes left to be counted on that. And I don't know what areas have counted and what have not. So I don't know enough on Nebraska to know where we're at. But right now,
well, I'm seeing in the chat someone saying that the life amendment is 8,000 votes behind. If that's an accurate number, which would not be good, but depends on what's in yet. I don't know. We haven't looked at where the votes that are still out need to come from. All right, let's see. I'm going to check my text here.
Usually the rural votes come in sooner, though, so that's not
we need Brian's Rolodex. Interesting text.
No, when you start getting text that people are just saying amazing.
Oh yeah, come on, guys.
So AP
That's usually a good sign.
Amazing. It's better than terrible.
Yeah. All right. Oh my gosh. All right, let's go back and see. Tom, what are you thinking?
Tinfoil?
I was chastised when I first jumped on. I'm here like the next vice president of the United States, J.D. Vance, Brian Birch's close friend.
Well, we've joked that if we win tonight, the first thing we're going to do tomorrow is launch the Vance 2028.
Yes. Totally here for
Why
that.
not? Right?
Brian, can I show my favorite picture of you ever? Do you know
Hopefully
what I'm talking about?
Hopefully it wasn't when we played pickleball at our all staff meeting.
Well, hey, I wouldn't want to embarrass you like that. You ran into the buzzsaw of me and Scott Williams, former college athlete.
Wow, Team Hairspray. Yeah, okay.
Team Hairspray.
It's I'll save it. I'll put it up. It's one of my favorite pics ever of Brian.
I'm a little worried.
I'm going to make you sweat. Brian, I told the story of you, real
Tom,
welcome to CV moment of you T-boning me at go-karts.
Yeah.
Guys are weird.
Welcome to
All
the
right,
league.
gentlemen. I'm turning into a pumpkin officially here. So the ladies are leaving.
Ladies are out?
Yep, I'm going to
Well,
check.
you can leave at a point where the New York Times has a Trump at 90% chance of winning.
It's a good time to go to bed. What can I say? I really just hope it's at that when I wake up in 6 hours. So
I'm getting some word here. Missouri Amendment 3 looks like it's falling short, which would be
Wow.
huge news.
That would be
Keep in mind, that's
surprising.
another one of those. A month or two ago, we were down big. Harrison Butker, Josh Hawley, they went around the state on that. Harrison Butker
Josh
during his
Hawley,
bye
yeah.
week. Those guys leaned into it. God bless Harrison. I know, little insider, Harrison was hesitating a little bit to get political this cycle.
Because
I know he had some people
blow up at the
saying,
school, he gave the speech.
yeah, but there was people saying, well, you shouldn't get too political. And I remember talking to his team and saying, look, Brittany Mahomes is now coming out. There's no Switzerland left. Like, let's stop pretending that there's some sort of like safe space. And of him, of all people, after he gave the Benedictine speech, like, you can't pretend you're not political.
You're in too
And
deep.
God bless
brother.
him. He's like, you know what? I'm not just going to be political. I'm going to launch my own PAC. He creates his own PAC. It's named Upright PAC. What a name. Upright. He's a kicker. And comes out, endorses Trump. He's got ads now. He's running. He's raising money. He's backing candidates. So, another example of just courage in the face of the public that's constantly shames our side. Like, no,
Well, you know
you
who
just
hardest
kick the
hit?
football and keep your mouth shut.
Jamel Hill.
Shut up and
hardest hit.
shut up and
Yeah.
dribble, right? Shut up and dribble, but shut up and kick.
It's like everyone was mad at Kaepernick, and now you're all happy about Harrison Butker. I was like,
No,
oh,
actually, if Kaepernick endorsed candidates for office, I'd be like, whatever, dude. He knelt during the national anthem. Not cool.
There you go, Tom.
Here's
That's
Brian.
the go-kart picture.
And this isn't the go-kart picture. Here's Brian Birch and then J.D. Vance after he got elected. I'm telling you, it was a night to remember.
Senate victory.
Did you? So we were involved in that race. Did you ever imagine potentially him being at this level, J.D. Vance?
Yeah, I did.
And why would you say that?
Well, think about if the realignment is real in the Republican Party, that it's becoming a true multi-ethnic working class party. JD was clearly one of the leading voices that was both, his own personal life story, his education. He's a super smart guy. And he was, when he entered politics, when he decided to get in the race, if he was to succeed as a Senate candidate in Ohio, there's no question he was immediately on the Veep shortlist, which is exactly what happened. Now, we all know a little bit of the backstory. Trump helped put him over the top in that primary. Once he won and went on to win that race, then, if Trump, the kind of candidate that Trump is, the kind of Republican Party that he created, who else is out there that represents that kind of voice? Marco Rubio, maybe a little bit.
Not
Josh
Tim Scott.
Hawley. No, not at all.
Not Tim Scott, no.
No, and look, we've known JD for long enough. I interviewed him at that Napa Institute event.
Yeah.
You listened to that interview, and you knew what we knew about JD. And I said this, I think, to our email list. At the VP debate, oh, well, shoot, they're vacuuming the lobby here.
That is awesome. This is live. That was so awesome.
I love it.
All right, continue, Brian. I think we got noise.
You know what? This is great. I'm talking about JD in the working class realignment, and here comes the custodial guys vacuuming. So God bless them. They're probably big JD fans. We should have asked them right now.
He's taking out the trash just like Trump is.
You can do an exit poll. And Tinfoil Tom's computer died. So, yeah.
Here's
Brian,
a little
continue.
update real quick. Harry Enton over at CNN, I think he's actually a pretty good guy, pretty by the numbers kind of guy. He said in Pennsylvania now, there are 23 counties where 95% of the vote is in. Trump needs to do 1.2 percentage points better, 1.2, better than he did last time in order to win statewide. In the counties where 95% of the vote is in, he's already doing 2.5 percentage points better than his total last time.
So Josh, you and I have talked about this a bit, this whole realignment. I'm reminded of this. We both predicted that if it came down to if Republicans can do well enough in the early vote, which we did, and that was our number one focus with Catholic vote, everyone's focus was there, recognizing that's where the Dem advantage usually comes. We had to cut into that once you get into a general election, that Trump could win, could do exactly what's happening. Because why? In high turnout elections, which is unique for Republicans, in high turnout elections, the Republican candidate is going to do extremely well. Because why? Because the new Republican electorate is made up of a lot of lower propensity voters, Hispanic, Black voters, working class voters, people that typically stay home. Now, what's going to be interesting?
White voters who don't have college education, right?
Exactly. Well. People that used to vote Dem, which is why they would typically do much better in presidentials, and then in off-year elections or midterms, Republicans would do better.
Now it's flipped.
Because why? Now it's flipped. If Trump, in fact, wins tonight, I will make a prediction here. We can go back and look at 2 years later. The midterms are likely not to be very good. In fact, I will say even 2 years ago, when everyone said the red wave, the red mirage, it didn't happen. It was because abortion. I don't think so.
Maybe it wasn't abortion after all.
Maybe it was the new Republican voter is a lower propensity voter and therefore in midterm elections doesn't perform as well. I think we're going to look back and realize over several election cycles, which leads me to my other crazy prediction that if in fact the electorate begins to shift, Republicans start winning more Hispanic voters, give it 10 years, Republicans will be the party of open borders, and Dems will become the party of voter.
I don't know open borders, but Democrats will want that wall too. Here's what I'm thinking. Donald Trump is going to, if he gets elected tonight, which is looking very good, he's going to have to shift into gears. You're saying that J.D. Vance already has to start thinking 4 years from now running for president. I give you that. But the other thing that, if J.D. Vance is very smart, he will lead the effort not only on that, but to try to tell Trump, I'm going to do everything I can to get as many of our voters to do early voting and absentee voting so that we can swamp the early vote so that the midterms aren't horrible, because we need those numbers up. We got to try to go against. I agree with you. There's going to be, if Trump wins, the coalition he's talking about, multiracial, not as many of the college educated, yuppies in the suburbs, white, brown, black, blue collar voters. He needs to get them to vote early, vote absentee, drive those numbers up, because we know if Trump is in office in these next couple of years, Democrats are going to be hyper motivated. They'll walk on pins and needles. They'll walk on shards of glass to vote in the next midterm elections. And we need to do everything we can to drive up vote. Banking those votes is going to be, we've shown that we can do it. We got to double down for next time.
The playbook is written. The Democrats have run this operation for decades. Now it's beginning to shift. So I absolutely agree with you. If Republicans want to be competitive in a midterm election, given this new dynamic, they're going to have to shift the electorate to where we solve the problem of low propensity voters.
And we need Republicans to expand early voting, not be against it. We need early voting in Pennsylvania, because we had it in Michigan and it's looking good. And we have it in Florida and it's looking great. Republicans.
This is my point. Whether it's voter ID or something else, in the end, if the shift is real, and I think it is, Democrats are not going to be in favor of anything that maximizes turnout. Turnout will be their enemy.
They've been in favor of early voting and voting by mail for so long that if we argue for it right now, they may not have enough time to be able to convince all of their voters and to be against it. And we
Nancy Pelosi's lost.
If you put it up on the ballot in Pennsylvania, the Democratic voters aren't going to be against that.
So California was called for Kamala Harris, and Brian, as a Suns fan, I have to show this to you. Chris Paul hits who cut the lead down to 42.
Oh, come on, Tom. My sons are 6-1. 6-1.
Hey,
one loss.
Don't come knocking with me. The Pistons have won 3 of 4, so we could be back.
All right, we're gonna drive all these listeners away. Talking about esoteric subject like the NBA. No one wants to talk about the NBA on election night.
Me. Anyway, do you have any big updates from the election map, Josh?
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the board. I mean, again, New York Times still has 89% chance likelihood of Trump winning. But again, a lot of these states are going to take a while to count. We're at over 70. We're at 70% now chance of Trump winning in Pennsylvania. Michigan's
Well,
at
here's
60.
the thing. New York Times, by the way, Josh, projects Trump wins the popular vote by 1% and 301 electoral votes. That's as of 30 seconds ago.
What did I have?
Oh my gosh.
I said he was going to win by 1 percentage point, and then he had 297. So Oracle of Petoskey looking pretty good right now.
Can I just confirm, just to wrap it in a bow, why are these projections so good for Trump? Like, why is it so unlikely for Harris to be able to pull it out at this point?
Because she's running out of places to get votes, and the votes outstanding aren't. She's not getting the returns and the margins that she needs, and everywhere that the reports are coming in, the margins are smaller than they were with Biden, and he was able to pull off the victory. So,
all right, I think I might have the tweet of the night here.
What do you got? Wait, send it. Can you send it in the private chat so I could show it, or you could just read it, I guess, or you can slide it.
Let me figure out how to do that on the
fly.
No,
you can just read it. You can read it if it's.
So it's at Father Charles on Twitter, who says, "Because of my vow of poverty, I am unable to own the libs."
Well, we forgive you, Father.
I did see your boy Comfortably Smug said that Joe Biden should tweet that he would have won right now.
You should. You should put out a dark brand.
So actually, that's an interesting theoretical question. Remember, Trump was up 5-6 points over Biden, which is why they had to swap him out. What do you think if Biden would have stayed in the race?
It would have been a lot. I think he might have won it. I do think it would have been. He would have definitely done better than Kamala, especially when you talk about where the states that matter, the blue wall, where the Catholic vote looms large. He would have been able to, unfortunately, fool enough Catholic voters that he might have been able to win re-election. And again, this is when you start looking at like Trump opened up that big lead. People need to understand what's going on with these numbers. Biden's numbers after that debate was cratering with Democrats as they were like saying, no, I'm not supporting this guy, in hopes that George Clooney and Barack Obama could put this palace coup on and show like, oh my gosh, look how big of a difference is. You'll never make it up. But if Joe Biden would have found a way to put the screws on and said, no, I'm not staying, I'm not moving at all, and stayed with it and never said quit, and what, the Democrats are not going to vote for him? Like they would have come back home. And again, would he have done better in Pennsylvania? He's a native son of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. People underestimate how foreign Kamala Harris is to like Pennsylvania as a whole. She's just so not.
And since she's California, and she's not going to do as well in Nevada, because people in Nevada do not like California politicians. So AP is calling Kamala Harris for winning in New Mexico. I mean, not a shock, but that was one of those reach.
What's the margin though? What's the margin? That's interesting.
We'll have to I'll have to try to get. Let me see if I get the final numbers here. But AP tends to wait on things to call.
All right, I have a quick MSNBC.
I don't have
clip.
the numbers on that, but
I think when it's all said and done, what you're going to see is a huge divide over people who are college educated and not college educated. And if that is the case, what is different is that you could be seeing a realignment about the base of each party. And there are warning signs for everybody here. But if the working class, non-college educated voter is now increasingly a Republican voter, Democrats have to rethink the way in which they sell their policies that absolutely benefit working class Americans. And it's hard.
Brian, it's almost like we said that before MSNBC did.
Maybe they watched the Loopcast.
We happen to know a few things over here. we occasionally get a few things right, and maybe mainstream media might not always get everything right. Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. Well,
so New Mexico, right now, I mean, she's at just under 52%, so 51.8 to 46.2.
Still, like within 4 points, 4 or 5 points in New Mexico.
Yeah, about 5 points. Yeah, 5 points. Yeah, with 75% reporting. So that's a state that, if the trend lines continue, yes, that I would not be surprised if that's considered a swing state in 28.
The new Ohio.
Well, the other way. I mean, it's not.
No,
Yeah,
I'm saying
right.
Ohio
You
was
swing
the state. Barack Obama wins it. It becomes a red state over time. Why?
Right.
I mean, I think that the border has to be a big issue there. I think that's why Trump went there.
This is one of those things that people don't understand. Like swing states change over time. You know, in 1988, George H. Bush, Poppy Bush, he won pretty decisively. It wasn't as big of a Reagan landslide, but he won. I mean, he was down by 10, 11, 12 points, but then he climbs his way back up and he wins a pretty decisive victory over Michael Dukakis. Michael Dukakis still won West Virginia. That's how Democrat of a state West Virginia used to be. And it's like, it was the number one most Trumpian state in the first cycle. And it's like maybe number 2 right now behind Idaho. I mean, that just tells you things do change. States that used to be swing states either move into the red column or move into the blue column.
By the way, Polymarket has Trump at 95% likelihood of winning.
My gosh.
And you know what? Betting markets are probably the best predictor. So that's a aggregated crowdsourced.
Because they're putting their money where their mouth is.
People who are putting money based on what they're reading and seeing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My investment's looking pretty good right now.
All right. So my PR team's asking if I can approve a statement. I don't know. Should I do this? It's kind of getting. I don't want to jinx it.
Wow, it's a good sign.
What, you want to do it over the air? Probably. I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, you want to do it live, Brian?
Oh, sorry.
Critique it together.
These are all my other random things looking at Bitcoin. So of course, Bitcoin is surging.
About that, yeah.
For all your crypto people out there,
Brian, my
Bitcoin's
Coinbase is
surging
looking
because,
real
of course,
nice right now. Not gonna lie.
thanks to Donald Trump. People are saying, "Look, this is going to be the most crypto-friendly president." Harrison Bucker's people are calling me. Nope, not picking that up.
I mean, I still don't understand crypto, but sounds good to me.
Kamala did promise to protect black men's crypto assets.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite pitches of the
She
cycle.
promised a lot of things, Tom.
This is true, Brian. This is true. Someone said, "Stay focused, Kings."
Hey, we got 80% of the vote in Pennsylvania is in. And New York Times has it a 70% chance of Trump winning it.
Wow. That is crazy. I mean, the Shapiro curse, man. Someone asked if Shapiro turned.
Okay, so let me ask you guys. You think Kamala concedes tonight?
Well, I consider tonight to be till 3 a.m. because in 2016, the election was called at 3 a.m., but I still consider that election night. It wasn't like the next morning, which was, I remember 2000 when Gore initially conceded and then he recanted the decision. And it was like, okay, we're not getting an answer tonight. And it turned out it took another month. But, Trump, Hillary did concede and Trump was declared the winner at 3 a.m. So that could happen again. I consider 3 a.m. tonight. We'll see.
You know what? I've kind of pulled a Mitt Romney tonight. So the PR team was asking me for an analysis on the Trump win and analysis on the Trump loss. I did a really good analysis on the Trump win. In fact, I wrote a whole memo. We have it all ready to go to the press. And granted, I had to fill in some numbers here. I did not write the loss one. Remember, Mitt Romney famously never wrote a concession speech in 12. He came out and just winged it. He was so convinced he was going to win. So
did everyone else. I think Fox News viewers, they were hyped up by Dick Morris, bad polling, and Karl Rove with his little board telling everyone everything. And Matt Lewis is now a never Trumper kind of wacko. I mean, he's a friend of mine. I don't want to say wacko, but he said he was in a room of people in 2012, all these conservative leaders, and said, "Raise your hand if you think Romney's going to win." And everyone raised their hand except for him. He's like, "Yeah, no, I don't think he's going to win." And I remember in 2012, I remember that first debate when he did really well, and then Candy Crowley had to jump in and spike the football in his face. I did not think Romney was going to win that election. I remember that ad that aired in Ohio about you've referenced that a lot.
The stage.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Where Mitt Romney, the venture capitalist, came in and they had these workers build a stage and they come on out and he gets out there and he tells them, "Hey, I'm shutting this factory down. You're all going to lose your jobs." And the worker was like, "We're building that stage. Turns out we're building our own coffin." And I watched that ad and I I won't say what I said because it's a family show, but I knew right then and there the election's over. And yeah, I was right. Sorry about that. The Oracle was right. I never liked Romney. Thought he was a terrible candidate. Nice guy, nice neighbor, whatever.
Hey,
We're not
Josh, what are you
questioning
seeing
neighbor.
on the House, by the way?
Well,
I'm a little concerned
I haven't looked
on
in a
the
while,
House
but it
side.
said we're at a 51% chance of keeping the House.
Yeah, it's a little too close for comfort, by the way. Because let's think about
Decision
this.
I didn't say it was close. I mean, I didn't say
Decision
it was.
Desk was saying that it's actually leaning blue slightly right now.
Well, we did
Yeah,
lose
that's not good.
Claudia Tenney. That was frustrating. She's good out of New York.
Yeah, I mean, divided government is not going to be good. We need to win the House. But
We need to get the
that's a
House
look in-
because the tax plan. If we're going to have any good tax plan,
Although, interestingly, if the Dems do take the House, they're going to have, just like the Republicans have had, a problem with a number of centrist, center-right Dems. I don't know how many they're going to be. You got to look at the map. But I think a lot of the things that Trump wants to do on tariffs, on taxes,
family leave, they might
think
throw some of that in to get the votes he needs.
there will be some votes there for sure. Yep.
Man, the Republicans are looking like they have a chance of winning Senate seats in the blue wall here. All three of those states have Senate races as well. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. There's a chance we could pick up, Republicans could pick up 1, 2, or even 3 of those Senate seats out of those states. Can you imagine that?
MSNBC just said that Minnesota has moved it too close to call.
No, come on. Tom, are you just teasing him?
No, Rachel Maddow. I'm not.
Oh my goodness! If Tim Walz can't win his own state, it will confirm the very first thing I said on here. The biggest story of this election.
New York Times still has it advantage Harris in a big way. So where are you getting that from, Maddow?
I just saw a tweet. MSNBC. Rachel Maddow just said Minnesota moved to too close to call.
This Minnesota native would love that.
Basically, trust me, bro. I don't have the clip.
Last time Minnesota voted Republican was 1972.
Wow.
Well, technically,
no, that's actually not true. They voted Republican in '84.
I know. They stuffed the ballot box in the Iron Range.
Yeah. Well, boys, I think I'm gonna head back in and see what's going on here, and I got to get a statement approved.
Well, hey, go get it done.
Fearless leader, thank you so much for joining us.
Brian, thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
You know, let me just end with this. You know, I feel like sometimes it feels like a bunch of platitudes when we say vote, 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 fight, fight, fight. And then what else we say? Pray, pray, pray. Maybe the biggest story of this election is I have never heard so many people tell me that they're praying for us, they're praying for the country, they're praying for Trump. And we never get to measure that. That doesn't come out in an exit poll. It doesn't get measured in the traditional political way. And God willing, we'll make it to heaven eventually. We'll be able to see. But God bless all those people that were praying, all the people that don't get the credit they deserve, and that people were, you know, in my parish and parishes across the country praying for the country. And Our Lady of Victory came through for us. So it's a big deal. And I think sometimes we say it, we know it matters, but because we can't measure it, we tend to dismiss it, and we talk about all the things we've talked about since I've been on here. But
yeah, and Brian, also I just
got to give credit. Got to give credit to the.
Just before you get out of here, because I want to hear from you because you travel a lot more than I do. It's crazy doing the LOOPcast and either meeting people in real life or having people email in or just seeing comments, talking about how much Catholic vote means to them and that they feel represented in that, and that they're grateful for what we do. It feels like such a privilege to represent that for people. Did you have any moments on the road while you were on the ground for this election where you had interactions with people like that?
I mean, it's terrible to say because there wasn't any one moment. It happens every day for me because I'm the face of Catholic vote out there. I'm traveling. I was in Wisconsin on Saturday, Michigan on Sunday, Pennsylvania on Monday. You know, I'm around fundraising, doing media. I think I spent 1 week at home over the last 4 months, which is crazy, by the way. So that my wife is very happy that this election is going to go the way it is. She said, we need to go on vacation or something, although it's not true. I have travel coming up next week as well. But I talked about this in email as well, that moment that this summer when I was doing that podcast, and I did the podcast with David B. Wright, and the woman takes me aside afterwards, and she was this Protestant at this little Protestant church, and she grabs me by the shoulders and says, "You give me so much hope. And don't forget, we are not fighting for a victory. We are fighting from a victory." And it was just such a powerful moment for me. And I brought that up repeatedly, but it was just such a reminder. And I said this the other day on the rosary, that, that line in scripture, the gates of hell shall not prevail against us. The gates are defensive. We're supposed to be the people on offense pushing against the gates. When the gates of hell do not prevail against us, it means when we are pressing hard enough on the gates, hell is going to break, and we will triumph and conquer because of the cross. And I'm reminded of that because we're always fed so much nonsense and narrative around we're the minority, we're the people on the outside, we're the people that are dying, our ideas are old, and you have these moments like tonight, and God willing, it's going to go the way it is. We'll see. You don't want to get too celebratory yet. There's still, yep. But it's just reminders that God's still in charge. He's still in charge. And I said this in the email today. God's not on the ballot. He doesn't need a majority vote. Yeah, we're just pilgrims on this journey. And on nights like this, it's a great journey to be on.
Amen to that, man. Well, hey, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to join, and go have fun.
Great, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. God bless all the listeners. Thank you for everything.
Peace. All right, Josh. And then there was two.
I love it.
Okay, what do we got right now? So I heard some Nebraska talk. I don't know if you see that.
Let's get that loaded up here. I don't know.
So it looks like Senate, we're now at 49, according to WAPO.
Nah, we're at 50.
What's the 50?
We come into this with 49, and we picked up West Virginia, and even Fox News is calling Republicans gain Senate control.
Right. So we officially now have WAPO calling Virginia and North Carolina. That took a long time. Not sure why Nevada's white here.
They just called Nebraska for Fisher. That's why they're saying the Senate.
Got it.
That was the one kind of, I mean, it was, still kind of close, but.
Right. Let's see what New York Times is up to. Man, that needle is a welcome sight. Forecast has changed. 301 EV, Harris 237 EV.
Yeah, I was thinking 297 was my number, so.
Wow.
We'll see.
So we're coming to a close on our coverage, Josh. We will be up tomorrow for a show, normal time, LOOPcast, 11 a.m. Eastern time. If you guys want to subscribe right now, best way to see it, subscribe, put on notifications, join us live. It's a good time. Cheers to everyone that does that now. You see them live here in the chat. Go ahead and do that. I think we've actually we're pretty close to 20,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone for us. So kudos to everyone who, what are we at now? 19.4. We've picked up like 600, 700, I think, tonight alone, based on people from Livestream. So we really appreciate that. Do you have any closing thoughts? We have 8 minutes left in the stream for the people.
Well, again, it's nice to see the official confirmation that Republicans have taken the Senate. We kind of knew that was going to happen because I wasn't too worried about Deb Fisher, Nebraska, but that's a victory nonetheless. That puts to bed any notions of nuking the filibuster, packing the Supreme Court, all these proposals by the Democrats to, destroy democracy in order to save it. So that's good. And obviously, nothing's final on the presidential side of things, but Trump is leading in all of these swing states. 70% chance in Wisconsin, 68% chance in Michigan, 74% chance in Pennsylvania, 80% chance in Arizona, Nevada, 62%. Kamala has to pretty much at this point win all of them practically, or a good chunk of those to be able to pull it off. And I don't see it happening. The numbers don't look good. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it's looking great.
Word. All right. The Diet Coke and coffee kept me up to where I needed to be. So that being said, thank you so much to everyone who joined us live. Again, we will be here tomorrow. And tomorrow we will have more information as more votes close. If you like, a nightcap might be popping over to MSNBC. It is not looking great over there right now. We're already getting calls for why did they swap out Biden? So that typically does not portray confidence. But this was a lot of fun. We will be doing these in the future. God bless everyone. And St. Thomas More, Our Lady of Guadalupe, St. Fidelis. Pray for us. Pray for everyone here in the chat. Pray for our country.